New England is home to some of the most iconic hunting, fishing, and conservation opportunities in the world. Striped bass, whitetails in the big woods and suburbs, native brook trout, Maine moose, and the list goes on. Alongside these opportunities is a world-class, local-driven outdoor industry that is honed into the unique needs of New England hunting and angling. The Hunt Fish New England podcast brings you the men, women, and lore behind this region's incredible outdoor industry. This is hunting, this is fishing, this is New England.
And he needs more content, and I haven't sent him yet, and he sent me a couple reminders.
See, I'm helping you remember this.
Yeah, but every little angle, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Oh. How long you been doing it?
Just got started.
Yeah, we're really just getting going.
God, you're just learning then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I started in 19. So
Oh, Jesus. You're like the Joe Rogan of outdoor podcasts.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that because I have been called that. So my buddy, Ben Page, he had the Foul Front podcast.
Yep.
And he called me the Joe Rogan of wildlife conservation. So it was really cool. I was very honored. I think more on the law enforcement side, but
Yep.
and he works for the company that does our licensing, S3, Sovereign Sportsman Solutions.
Yeah, nice.
So he came out of the military, stopped podcasting, and actually did real work. So
Nice.
my name is Wayne Saunders. I was a conservation officer for the state of New Hampshire for 23 years. And in retirement, you know, somebody told me retirement was going to be busier than what I was in fishing game, and I never, ever thought that was going to be possible. But I think it is at this point. So I wear several hats. I do the Wardens Watch podcast, and I've been doing that since 2019. We just hit our 100th episode this last month, so that was a very exciting time to celebrate 100 because it's a lot of work, as you guys know. I hate the producing side of it, but to have a quality. And that's one thing that's nice about podcasting. People will comment on your quality.
Yep.
And I get that quite often, so it helps a lot. So be picky. And I was trained by Jay Scott from the Big Buck Registry podcast.
Yep.
So Jay trained me. I paid him for a while, then I couldn't afford him anymore, so I started doing it myself. So, but I just got it, this year I am now the president of the New Hampshire Operation Game Thief program, which is, if no one knows what Operation Game Thief is, it's how to report poaching, illegal wildlife activity in the state of New Hampshire. And we just started an app, so if all your listeners can download NHOGT, which is Operation Game Thief.
Okay,
So-
how's it work?
So you just go on the app, and it's very simple. You don't even have to put your name in. You just put the stuff in. So if you're out in the woods, and I'll give an easy one because this happens all the time, you come across a bait.
Yep.
A bait, like during turkey season, let's say that. You can't bait turkeys. I don't think there's a place in the United States you can bait turkeys. So you're out in the spring, you're turkey hunting, you trip across a pile of corn, and you see all kinds of turkey activity. You go to NHOGT, the app, and you put in the activity, illegal turkey baiting. Take a picture of that pile of corn and submit it, and it'll give the location. They can geo-attach it.
It does.
And guess what? You can be anonymous. You don't have to put your name, you don't have to put your address, but you just gave a tip and a geolocator. Because I'll tell you what, as a game warden, it's insane to find wildlife crime in the woods. So I have learned through 23 years, I always dragged hunters there. They'd report, I found a dead deer here, and they'd give me the location. And I'd be like, you got to come with me. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I've been through this before. I've spent hours in the woods looking for a dead deer once, or twice, or 3 times, or maybe a dozen before I learned it. So anyways, I drag them back. So now you don't have to, because it gives me a lat and a longitude or a UTM. I can walk myself into that illegal bait, and I don't need you. And you just report it anonymously, which I think is awesome. If you don't, and I think people should get involved. I love the TSA saying, if you see something, say something. Yep. I use that in Operation Game Thief. And I also just got appointed to what I will call the parent company of the Operation Game Thieves, International Wildlife Crime Stoppers. And we provide training for Operation Game Thief. We hold a conference once a year around the country. This year it's going to be in Utah, near Park City, Utah. And all the states, I should say most of the states are members of this because we get together, we network, we figure out what is working, how to promote our 1-800 numbers, our apps, our things. We actually learn how to reach out to you guys. So, and podcasting is one of those aspects that we need to emphasize on and we need to tell them.
Yep.
So we're working on our own app. I'm kind of excited about this. So, and I'll give them a plug too. Hunt Regs, brand new app just released maybe 4 weeks ago.
Is that nationally or just for New Hampshire at this point?
There's the Hunt the Hunt app.
Yes.
The Hunt Regs is going to be national. They are targeting, because if you think about hunting regulations in a simplified form, you're talking about a massive amount of data.
Yes.
So if you were going to sell a product for hunters and regulations, where would you target first? See, I'm going to interact with you now. Where would you target?
The internet, right? If
the internet, yep. So savvy people on the internet.
Right. I'm trying to look up hunting regulations in Maine. When does the rivers close?
Exactly. But if you're launching and you got one state set up, which state are you going to target to launch in?
Probably out west, I'd assume, the largest population of hunters.
Nah, you hit it. You hit it. Do you know where the largest population of hunters?
Michigan.
Oh, you're close. You're close.
Ohio
and Pennsylvania go back and forth all the time.
Okay, all right.
And I will say it's around 1 million.
What does he win for that?
I'll tell you, he should. A guest on. We'll figure out something. Give him a piece of candy.
Full of knowledge. Plenty of free stuff here.
Yeah, I got a Wardens Watch podcast decal for you.
All right, fair enough.
And I'll grab one of yours too.
All right,
for
all
sure.
Right. So basically, starting out in those Midwest areas, so largest demographic.
Largest population. So they have targeted Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Florida for their launch.
Yep.
So, and they just launched, and they're doing a lot of what Onyx is doing, so you can actually geolocate it. They have a journal aspect in there too.
Yep.
But their idea is to simplify hunting regulations. So I said to them, well, how about how to report a poacher within that state? So I want IWC, International Wildlife Crime Stoppers, to have an app. So if I'm in Pennsylvania, I target Pennsylvania, it pops up how to report poaching in Pennsylvania with a link right to it. So that's what they're hopefully going to do. It'll be on their app for sure, but I'm hoping there's going to be a International Wildlife Crime Stoppers app too. So you can do the same thing like we're doing in New Hampshire.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does. I'm excited about those things. So there's a lot of things I've started getting, every time when you start a new job, you get all excited about things and you get fired off, and then after a couple of years you start to burn out and you need to take up another torch and run with it. But
unretire, I get it.
Unretire. But I've been doing Operation Game Thief. Actually, I did it with the department since 2008.
Oh, that's really cool.
I was the liaison, and I actually started the nonprofit section. So Operation Game Thief is actually a nonprofit, so people can donate it to. We are one of the nonprofits that are the departments. There's only two: the New Hampshire Wildlife Heritage Foundation and New Hampshire Operation Game Thief are the nonprofit partners with New Hampshire Fish and Game. So that's a pretty big honor for both of us to be that and to be able to raise money. So we bought cameras, trail cameras for officers, so they can actually, put those out and catch poachers with those.
How about the robotic deer?
We bought robotic deer.
All right.
Yes.
I've seen them.
Yes, we've done that, and we do the outreach too. So there'll be officers here tomorrow interacting with the board of directors and the people to get that message out, and that's a big message. We just launched it, so literally last week, NHOGT, the app came out, so I didn't really want to push it here. Let's work all the bugs, because there's going to be bugs. And then we're going to have Wild New Hampshire Day, April 15th, where everybody comes to New Hampshire Fish and Game, and we have a big blowout. You guys should show up. Mark Beauchesne, he can set you up. That would be a great opportunity for you guys there, too. Some really, really cool people there, too.
Awesome.
So, the nice thing is about, I don't even compete with you guys in your genre, because it's a whole different gig for me. I love that. And I love that about podcasting. Podcasters have that ability to work with each other.
Yes.
I just came back from the National Wild Turkey Federation Conference in Nashville. I sat down with some dynamic young podcasters just like you guys that are killing it. And to be honest with you, I was picking their brain too, because I suck at the marketing side, because I get too tired out. I do the podcast and everything, and I just I don't want to call up and beg for money. I get tired of it.
Right.
It's, but it's part of it. You have to pay. You guys have expenses. You're sitting here at a show. You bought a booth. You got to pay for that. So if people enjoy what you're what you're doing, they need to support you. They need to sponsor you. It's just like the pay-per-view channel. So, if you like HBO, man, you're paying for it right out the nose.
Absolutely. Well, it's good because, anybody can set up a podcast, right? And it's not like being on the radio anymore. It's not monetized. You can do basically whatever you want, get out whatever message you want. So, especially in your case where, Operation Game Thief, right? Like not a whole demographic would be able to, you wouldn't have the marketing budget in order to, broadcast that out commercially or anything like that. Just being able to have a free download and understand it a little bit, makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nope, it's podcasting's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Because either you like it or you don't. And to be honest with you, I'll listen to a podcast, I'll listen to 4 or 5 episodes, and then I'm on to another one. But then I'm like, yeah, I go back there because it's been 6 months I haven't been, and I go back there and then I binge listen to that too.
Right.
So
catch up on all the episodes you missed.
Yeah, it's so many people do that. I watch by numbers, and it's not the show I just released that's hot. It's the second or the third show are downloading really well, and it's because people are just catching up.
They're going back in time.
Exactly. And then when people do find you, they binge listen.
Yes.
And they just go to town from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And it's pretty cool. I've met those people. So
that's awesome.
I had my first experience. I was at the NWTF, and I started talking. There was 2 officers there. A female, she was talking to some people there, and the male officer, I had met him before. So I started talking, and she spun around, and she's like, she's got that Tennessee accent. She goes, "Well, that's Warden's watch. I'd recognize that voice anywhere."
No way.
What
am I famous now?
What an honor, though, for an officer to spin around and say that. I was honored. That's a first for me, and I was excited.
It all comes together at that point. You actually get to see who the audience is.
Yeah, and I thought she was kidding, but she had no idea I was there. I had just walked up behind her. She was engaged, and I started talking to him, and she spun around like a top, and it was just funny. And she's been on for about 3 years and has listened to almost every episode. She was right up to date. And
that's awesome.
We chatted about it, and that was pretty cool. It was very much an honor.
So where do we find your podcast?
Oh, I'm on everywhere. So I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple Podcasts, just like you guys are. You go to a distributor, and they kick it out every which way.
All right.
Wardenswatch.com. You can go there. You can sign up with your email there, and you'll get a download, plus all the show notes and everything on that. Every time I drop one, they'll send it out to you.
Cool.
So, and you get some, I have stuff there. So I have an online store. You can order some Wardens Watch gear there if you want. Things like that. So, but it's all like the old style marketing. It's sitting at this sportsman show, talking to people, handing out cards, and engaging.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's fun.
Good.
So congratulations, you guys. You're already on your way. You get better equipment than I do. So.
Well, Win, thanks for being on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you know what I like about you guys? Being young, you guys have a brain that just functions a whole different way, and I'm jealous. So, I'm over there. You got it on video and stuff. I just, I do video, but I grab my phone and play with that, and just because I can't afford anything else, and every time I can't run anything else either. But it's really cool, and thank you for the opportunity of sitting down with you guys and sharing, Operation Game Thief New Hampshire, International Wildlife Crime Stoppers, the Wardens Watch podcast, and sounds fun. Looking forward to listening to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks, Wayne.
We'll let you introduce yourself here.
Sure. Captain Jeremy Furtado, Boston Fish Charters. We target striped bass right in downtown Boston.
All right. How long you been doing it, Jeremy?
About 15 years.
Perfect. How'd you get started?
I like to fish too much. I was given an ultimatum: make money at fishing or go to work.
All right. So you've had a boat longer than 15 years, but finally got your captain's license?
Yeah, I did. And the wife's finally happy because I'm not just fishing. There's actually something behind it.
All right. All right.
Boston's a unique fishery because you have everything going on downtown. You got the ferries, you got everything, the water taxis, the booze cruises, and then you have the commercial charter guys that get to just go right into it.
Yeah.
And you're reeling in a bass, and 85 people are going by you on Codzilla, the super fast motion ride.
So you're getting a little bit of everybody out
Getting
there.
a little bit of everything, yeah. It's never a dull day on the harbor.
How was the fishing last year?
Excellent.
Yeah?
Most of July, we had a humpback whale that hung out with us.
Oh, no way.
So, we were fishing, and all of a sudden, 2 feet next to the boat comes the humpback, and then he disappears, and everyone's like, oh, that was great. It was good. It was the best bass fishing I had seen in 15 years.
No kidding.
Yeah. We had a pot of bass that came into downtown in beginning of June, and they did not leave.
Wow.
So at any moment in time, we're going 1 mile from the dock with our clients
That's awesome.
and putting them right on fish.
What are you fishing them with? Are you trolling or are you
Pogies.
pogies?
Live bait. Yeah.
Live bait. Yeah.
Yeah. Bunch of different ways to get them.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But live bait, you're putting it out there, you're getting hit. You're getting
Yep.
hit. There's no waiting.
What did the transition from treble hooks to circle hooks do to you?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah. You not catching them as frequently, or are they getting off?
No, we're getting them as frequently, but we're getting a lot losses on the bite.
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't hook it within the first 2 seconds,
Forget about
gone.
it. Yeah.
I would definitely say more fish are getting released for the fact that everyone's losing more.
Yeah.
As far as the gut hook, it more depends on the person on the rod.
Yeah.
They're going to sit there and let them eat.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of hook it is. It
Right.
goes down the throat.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's saving bass. I do know that last year was the best bass fishing I've ever seen. So whatever they're doing,
Keep them up.
keep doing it. Yeah.
All right. All right.
That's my motto on it.
What kind of sizes are you seeing? Like slot fish, or are you getting them like big slats?
All of June was slots.
Yeah.
And then July was all over.
Okay.
You had a trouble getting a boat limit because you're releasing 30 pounders.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's good to see as far as like the quantity and quality of fish really improving out there.
It was an absolute biomass. Oh, this Captain. You're next.
Stormbuster.
How many charters are you putting out a year? You staying busy all week,
Yeah.
or a lot of weekend fishing? Or?
Well, I prefer to do weekday fishing.
Okay,
'cause the harbor is nuts on a Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Captain Vinny prefers the opposite. Prefers
Okay.
the weekends.
All right.
But yeah, last year I did 43, 44 trips.
All right. So you're busy quite a bit all summer.
And my boat mixes in commercial fishing with all that. So when I'm not doing a charter, we're just trying to fill a cooler,
Oh, okay. All right. So you're going out commercial striper fishing, or yeah?
which probably would get you booed if you said that like in a live.
Well, let me ask you, what's the difference when you're going out commercial? Are you
We're
still trolling
keeping-
for them, or
No, we're still fishing them exact same way, live bait.
Okay.
It's just over 35 inches is dead and in the cooler.
Okay.
There's no releasing.
Okay.
We're using trebles.
Okay.
Sometimes on the pogies we're using 3 trebles
Yep.
because
You're not going to lose
you
them.
don't want to lose a fish.
So that's interesting. The commercial fishing, you can still use treble hooks. It's
No
just
restrictions.
no restrictions.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
no restrictions. Yes, we've had a couple moments on my boat and Captain Vinny's where we're fishing legally on a commercial day and we have a recreational angler telling us everything we're doing illegally when we're 100% in the rules. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Everybody wants to be a hero. I get
Yeah.
it.
But the slot limit's cool. My problem with the slot limit is, like I said, when someone sees me take that commercial fish, throw it in the box,
Yep.
they're instantly thinking I'm poaching.
Now, what's the difference on the bag limits on commercial fish? Is it pounds, or is it
15 a day, over
15?
over 35 inches.
Over 30.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
okay? All right. So that's on the bass side, and then
That's on the bass side. The tuna side, it's up to the buyers. The buyers now pick the days, which Noah thought was a good idea.
the buyers pick the days that they purchase off the dock.
And you can't commercially fish unless you have a buyer
Really?
for tuna. So they've created this whole catch where you don't have a buyer, you can't fish. It's an open day. It opens on the 1st and it goes till the quota closes. But they've already implemented it for this year where it's going to be like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at close days.
Okay.
So you can sell fish on the open days. It's a little weird for me because I don't think the buyers should be allowed to decide.
Right.
I think it should be an open fishery and a closing of the fishery, and then you let the fishermen decide. Because the buyers are doing it in a way that they're keeping the market flooded.
Right, which is keeping your costs down, which is making
keeping
it
the
harder for you
price
to make
down.
a living. Right, exactly.
You can't go out now and get that. I went out on a rough day and I scored one, and it's a gold mine.
Yep.
Because everyone went out on the rough day.
Right.
Because they can't go out the next day. Very strange. I don't know.
Now, are you going out, is it day trips for tuna, or are you going
Always
out?
day trips.
Always
yeah,
day
12-hour
trips.
trips.
Okay.
12-hour trips to tuna, and we try to mix in as much shark fishing as possible.
Okay.
Because tuna fishing is monotonous. Like, you're sitting there for 12 hours and you might not catch something.
How was the tuna runs this year? The water was warm, right?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was really good. September on, it was tuna the whole time.
No kidding.
Yeah. But from my standpoint, I'd rather see people catch 10 shark than 1 tuna.
Okay.
Yeah.
What species of shark?
Poor beagle.
Okay.
Poor beagle, occasionally thresher.
Okay.
And I mean, if you're unlucky, blue shark.
Okay.
And I say that because a poor beagle will have you crying. A thresher will have you crying. You think it's a tuna.
Yep.
A blue shark comes right in.
Okay. All right.
Twice the size of the other 2 sharks.
But they come right in.
But they feel that pull and they're just like, okay, we're going this way.
They're gonna
Yeah,
hook.
they know you're going to let them go. And yeah, my favorite thing is to put the clients on stand-up gear.
Okay.
So you're using a 50 wide
Yep.
with a harness and you're clipping it right in. And shark or tuna, you reel in a couple of them and you're done.
What's the average like real time on something like that? Are you on them for like hours or is
20
it
minutes.
20? Oh,
20
so you get them
minutes.
in quick.
You get a tuna, you're on it for 3. We had about 400 pounder on stand-up gear, and it was almost 3.5 hours to the point where we started hand lining it with the stand-up gear because the stand-up gear couldn't.
It wasn't getting.
It wasn't getting anywhere. We'd get them 40 feet below the boat, and that was it.
Wow. Then they just reel again.
Right, and then they peel off 60 feet. You got to pull back. So, on the bad side, stand-up gear is not fun when you get a giant.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say 80% of the time, it's a shark or it's not a giant.
Okay.
Giant
All right.
fishing is, you can do it. You can do it 3-4 days in a row, and you never see a giant. Never
Really?
hook any. Not that good, I guess.
You're still learning after 15
Definitely.
years? I like it.
Definitely. And this year I spent October, November, and December fishing with Dave Marciano on the hard merchandise and the Falcon.
Okay.
So I'd like to think I picked up a few tips from that old man, but I don't think I did. I was humbled quite a few times on that boat.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's it like once you get them back in, like the grading process, right? Like I assume the fish buyer grades the tuna, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like wicked tuna. They'll take a tail cut, they'll take a core.
Yep.
The Boston fishery for tuna, unfortunately, averages between $6 to $10 a pound.
Okay, so
The
you got
Gloucester fishery gets more, but we'd have to then bring our fish to Gloucester,
right, which
which
is
is not happening.
yeah, yeah,
Not at all.
yeah.
But I mean, it's just like wicked tuna. You lift the fish up out of the boat
They
on a
weigh it?
crane. They weigh it up. They take the tail cut. They take a look at it, and if it is an awesome-looking fatty fish, they'll
Yep.
definitely tell you that and get your hopes up.
Okay, all right. Then they'll hit you with a real number.
Yeah. Then 2 weeks later, you'll get the check, and you see what you really made. Exactly.
All right.
But domestically, tuna has been selling excellent, $6 to $10 a pound. 20 years ago, those fish were selling for $2 to $3 a pound domestically.
So is most of your fish staying domestic?
yeah.
It is. So it's not like they're flying them over.
The tuna are all going to sushi restaurants local.
Really?
Very few fish that I have even known have gotten sent overseas. The Gloucester fish do. 'Cause
Yep.
They got the tag wicked tuna on them.
Yeah, yeah. Did that help you or hurt you?
Hurt.
Yeah.
There's so many people doing it now.
Everybody's got boats and
And
charters
now they're
out there.
spilling into the striper fleet because the tuna fleet is full. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
go out to Stellwagen any given day, and there's 150 boats off.
No kidding.
Yeah. It hurt. It hurt big time. On the plus side, there's more demand for it all.
Yep. Yep.
There's
So
more
there's
demand
more
for the
people.
charters, and there's more demand for that. So in that sense, it helped. But as far as getting a $40,000 tuna,
It's not happening
it's not
anymore.
happening. No. And all the bass we catch is interesting. It all goes to New York.
Really?
Yeah.
What
Long
for?
Island. Food restaurants.
Really?
I mean, you see it here locally a little bit
Yep.
in their stores.
Yeah, you see them at fish markets
But
occasionally.
the big buyer, my buyer's trucking it. I mean, our last day is a Wednesday, and then on Thursday, our bass are going to New York.
Okay.
They love striper. I don't know.
Something
They
in
love
the
our
water.
striper. But
All right. Well, what's the biggest fish you caught this year?
bass or tuna?
Tuna.
Tuna.
I'll hit you with the bass after.
So at 107 inches, 602 pounds. And then the bass was pretty simple. The bass was 51 inches, 49 pounds.
That is a big fish.
And I had
That's
a
big
client
striper.
praying for a 50-pounder, and we hung it up on the scale, and it was 49 something, and I'm like, we can call it 50.
Close enough. Let me pull the scale down a little bit.
We're talking of a bass scale.
Yeah.
Not a professional scale. So yeah, 49 pounds.
It wasn't calibrated.
No.
Cool.
If people want to book a trip with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Pretty simple. BostonFishCharters.com, or look me up on Instagram, Boston Fish.
Perfect.
Pretty easy.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
I'll send Captain Vinny over. You'll love Captain.
And I'm like, fine. And then they show up with bananas, and I'm like, where are you going with that banana? And they go, I'm going to eat a banana at 9 o'clock. I said, not today. Guy was pissed. I don't let bananas on the boat. You know that, right?
I don't know that.
Bananas are bad luck on boats.
Really?
Yes.
We're going to have to talk about this.
Sure.
All right.
Ask me about it.
All right.
We're already recording, so
Bad
let's
shit.
get into it.
All right. Well, Vinny, I'll let you introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Captain Vinny Simeone, and I'm fishing out of Boston Harbor, fishing from June until whenever the snow flies.
Perfect.
Usually the end of October. Big fish in the middle of June, right through the end of August.
All right. How can we find you?
I'm on Fishing Booker. You can find me on Yahoo. You can find me on Google.
You got a website?
I do. I have a website, Stormbuster Charters. Yeah, Stormbuster Charters.
Instagram, Facebook, anything like that?
Instagram, yep, Stormbuster77 on Instagram. Facebook, Stormbuster Charters.
Perfect. How long you been doing this, Vinny?
I've been doing it 7 years right now,
Okay.
but I've been fishing obviously all my life. But professionally fishing 7 years.
What made you get into it?
I liked fishing. I used to be a contractor, and I kind of wore myself out on that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Times changed, and I just decided that I can make money doing this. It's a summertime thing. It's seasonal.
Yeah.
But as long as my wife doesn't mind, she says, when I leave for work, she goes, "Have fun," and I say, "I'm not having fun. I'm going to work." I don't think she buys it.
You leave with a smile on your face.
Yeah. Have fun.
Nice. Now, what are you going after for the harbor? Stripers, flounder?
It starts off with flounder.
Yep.
And usually when the water warms up enough, 55 degrees, a lot of the little signs like when the dandelions show up. When the dandelions show up, it's time to go flounder fishing.
Okay.
And then it leads into small fish,
Schoolies.
striped bass, schoolies,
Yep.
yeah. And then the big fish move in about the middle of June.
Yep.
About Father's Day it starts, the big ones,
Okay.
You can it's almost by clockwork.
Is that what it is? Is it migration or is it just water temperature?
It's migration, whether or not the things are happening early or not, it seems like it's always the same.
Yeah,
you know
about
what I mean?
the same time of year.
Yeah, they follow the bait,
Yep.
and the bait knows when it's time. It's funny. You think it's going to be an early season. It's about the same every year.
Yeah. What are you fishing with? Pogues, max?
Whatever's in. If the mackerel, I like mackerel the best. If I can, sometimes it's hard to get the max, but if the pogies are there, I'll be using pogies.
Okay. What do you find the difference between the two?
Well, the max are a lot easier for the fish to eat.
Yep.
And they like them. They like them. I think they like mackerel. They're just like stripe of candy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And the pogies are just a bigger fish. It's a bigger bait. Yeah, if that's what you got, sometimes that's all they want.
Yep.
They're keyed in. They key in on that pogie. You could bring max and throw it all around the pogies, and they're not touching it because they're keyed in on the other stuff.
Yeah.
They get keyed in, and then you're all done.
How many days a week are you doing charters?
I do it 7 days a week.
7 days a week?
Yeah. Sometimes
you'll book out basically
Yeah.
all year.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I do about 90 charters a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm on the water, like I said, May. I will fish. I will tow the boat a little bit and go up to the Merrimack River and do some haddock trips up that way because the
Yep.
fishing's a little better for haddock up out of the Merrimack.
Yep.
So before I get settled in at the docks, I'll keep it on the trailer for a while and trailer it a little bit.
Yep.
I used to trailer from New Hampshire to Cape Cod, but once I got on a slip, I got spoiled and I like to just walk onto the boat and walk off the boat. It's easy.
Yep.
I've fallen at the dock sometimes and 3:30 in the morning, I'm laying there going, am I dead?
What have I done wrong in my life?
Did I just die? Let me just get the boat out of the water. I get to the parking lot, I go, is this my hell? Nobody around, and if I hit my head, I'd be under the water.
Now, what harbor are you coming out of Winthrop?
I'm in Winthrop.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
right at the harbor there?
Yeah.
And it's staying basically in the water.
Yeah, I put it right on the
slip.
slip. Right on the slip. It's a beautiful dock. It's called Crystal Cove Marina. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Yep.
Restaurants across the street, coffee shops. Sometimes it's a little early. We start a little early. People call me, hey, can we go out at 8 o'clock? I'm like, fishing's not that good at 8 o'clock. I want to be on the water when the sun comes up.
Yep.
So the place doesn't open till 6. But, if they want to start at 6, I'll start that time. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to start getting out. I never go out at noontime.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
The wind picks up, all kinds of stuff.
Now, are you doing full day or half day charters, or how's that work?
I do 6-hour trips and I do 8-hour trips. And if people, and I'll do 4-hour trips. Sometimes families don't want to be out there that long, so I do 4-hour trips too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but I advertise more 6 and 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Now they're running pretty good the last couple of years out of Boston Harbor.
I always have. My reputation is with big fish. You know what I mean? I'd rather catch big fish than small fish. I mean, catching small fish all the time, but I target the big ones.
Yep.
I target the big ones.
Now, what is that? Just difference in like where you're going for those fish, or
usually?
Yep.
Usually, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're either going further out, or you're going.
It depends on where they are. Sometimes, sometimes one bird flying out in the middle of nowhere is what you want to watch for.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, it just erupts, and it's all 40-pound fish on top water in 90 feet of water.
Okay.
Okay. So schoolies are around the islands. They're in the rips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different place.
Yeah.
Different place.
Yeah. Perfect.
You got any local lure makers you like to throw?
I use Siren lures. Jason from Sirens, really good stuff. A lot of good stuff. I use Daddy Mac lures. Daddy Mac's a good lure. They got the the dock was similar to the dock. It's a top water. Top water. That's about it. I mean, I'm usually live bait. I'm throwing sluggos. Some of the basics, you know what I mean? Sluggos. Sometimes I'll throw down, I don't know, whatever it takes. But usually live. People ask me about that, and I go, I like live bait. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But sometimes you can't get it. I'm not a big troller. I don't do a lot of trolling. I'll troll for bluefish. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to troll for 3 hours and sit there and watch people looking at me. You know what I mean? It's either going to happen or it's not. And I don't sit in one spot. I'll travel. I've traveled from Boston Harbor to Salem to catch the fish. You know what I mean? I'll go towards Nantasket Beach. I mean, wherever I gotta go. A lot of times it's right inside where the aquarium is. I pick people up at the Marriott, and we go 75 yards out, and they're right there.
Perfect.
That's what's nice about the harbor is there are so many places you can catch them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Along the islands, you can troll max along the islands, and you can pick up some good sized fish.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you got?
Good. We'll take it easy on you. We threw everything we had at Jeremy earlier.
Did you? Yeah,
He said he caught bigger fish than you, but
Yeah, I don't know about that. He does. You know what? He's like, I love him to death. He keeps his boat in my yard, and but he's a little aggressive. You know what I mean? Like I'm low key. And I'm sitting there, and he's, oh, there goes Jeremy. Oh, there goes Jeremy. I call him Zippy. He zips around everywhere, He's
got places to be.
But, he puts fish on the boat. There's no question.
That's great.
And last year I got some 52-inch fish.
No kidding.
I got 350s last year.
Oh, that's great.
Some big fish. Sometimes they're not as heavy as long. Usually used to be 50 inches was 50 pounds, but it's not that way anymore. Yeah, if I could pick a lure that I love to catch fish on, it'd be top water.
That's top water plug, something like that.
There's nothing like seeing a big, huge fish hit a top water.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot out of people. You put them up there to throw a dock, and the dock is a giant. It's a giant lure, and it's work. It's work. You got to work that lure back and forth, and wipes people out. Mm-hmm. Wipes people out. So.
Now, are you fishing commercially too, or just basically charters?
I do a little commercial fishing too.
You do?
Yeah, I mean the government says you can, so I do it.
Fair enough.
What I mean?
Fair enough.
I'm not a huge, I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn about that.
Okay.
I'm very torn about that. If I don't have to, I won't. But if it's a day when I don't have a trip,
get out there.
I'll probably do it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. If you want to throw it out there one more time, where we can see you on Instagram.
Yeah,
Facebook.
look me up, Stormbuster Charters. I'm also with a company named Guidesley.
Okay.
Guidesley they're a pretty good company. They put you on to some really quality fishing guides.
Okay.
And they're local. Fishing Booker is good as well. A fishing booker, I get a lot of people from out of the country.
Okay.
I've had people from Singapore. And I get customers. I remember all my customers. I've had customers. I had a guy from Singapore, and I sent him to a friend's place up in New Hampshire, and he sent me pictures of him at my buddy's place, and I get him a charter down in Key West, you know what I mean? And he traveled the whole East Coast, and it was he was a good guy. He actually told me, you should sell me some fish. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to send it to Singapore.
I'll put it in UPS. Don't worry about it.
I will pay you $1 more than anybody else. I'm like, well, you better pay me. How do you do that? But I remember I see a lot of people out of state, from Fishing Booker.
Yep.
Even Guidesley. That's what you get. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people that from out of town.
You already seeing bookings this season?
Yeah. I got a lot of regulars booked right now.
Yep.
Because they know it's going to get.
It's time.
It's time.
Yep.
I usually don't have a problem booking. I come to the shows because it's like camaraderie. It's fun to talk to people, you know what I mean? And, you get a trip that pays for the booth, you're good. But your card is out there. You give people, you know what I mean? So it's the potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other shows before?
I did Boxborough. I did the one in Boxborough, another Dan Kenny show.
Oh, yeah. You got any coming up where you're going to be set up? Or is this the last?
I think this is the last one for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do. I used to go to the one in Connecticut. I've done the whole thing, and you learn which ones are good and which ones are bad. You know what I mean?
Sure.
This is it. The season's going to be starting pretty soon.
Yeah. It's getting warmer.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Perfect.
All right, Vinny, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, my name's AJ Hunter. I am the owner of HuntLyte LLC, a saddle hunting and accessory gear manufacturer.
How long you been doing it for?
Ooh, this is technically year 3, but year 2 in the retail space.
Cool. How'd you get into it?
I think it's just kind of a culmination of all of my life experiences happen to fall in line right around the COVID time frame too. So I'm an adult onset, late onset hunter, so I didn't start hunting really until COVID. And then I met a guy who was looking for equipment for saddle hunting in the climbing store that I work at and guide out of. I had been looking for saddle hunting equipment, and I was like, oh, hey, I know ropes. Let me give you some information. So exchange contact information, talk to him a little bit, and he's like, hey, you kind of have an idea of what you're doing here. Maybe you should try this space out a little bit. So next thing you know, I'm trying to figure out how to make a hunting saddle.
All right, so you have a background in climbing, okay? Is that where this whole thing started?
I wouldn't even say the whole thing started. So I think when I say a culmination of all my experiences, I spent 4 years in the military, so hunting kind of translates to that, and then gear as well, where any gear that's there, I love it. I want it. I want it all. I want it all.
All right.
I kind of followed that passion through mountain guiding and climbing and everything as well. What's the next big cool piece of gear? I always thought I was just materialistic. Well, now, hey, I can actually produce instead of just consume. So with that, with my military experience and then my mountaineering experience, we're always trying to pare things down. We don't want to carry a lot of heavy crap. So with that, I took the philosophy of I want most of my gear to be as light as possible, as secure as possible, and then provide as many functions as possible. A bow can only really be one thing. It can only be a bow. But, can a saddle be more than one thing? Most people would say no. Well, I designed our saddle to have a removable belt. So now you have a belt that you can wear while doing other activities. So it's bridging that gap a little bit, not entirely. And now with this next iteration, just changes to the belt to make it more of a full system. So
all right, so more versatility.
Yeah, more versatility. Yeah, taking the modularity from the military and then trying to apply that into today's activities.
All right. So when did you start hunting?
The first time that I went was probably 2016, but then I didn't hunt any time after that, 2014. Then I didn't hunt any time after that until 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, and shot my first bear my first season, which was awesome.
Okay.
Over a cornfield, which had already been cut down, so over a empty field.
Yep.
Nice.
And then 2 years ago, not last season, 2 years ago, I shot my first deer. That was a doe out of one of my prototype saddles, which was really cool to be able to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, putting your own stuff to work.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Okay.
And then this year was my first buck, or this past season was my first buck, and essentially it was a living room buck. I was up at deer camp and I saw it walk down the field after being out in the morning. I was in my saddle. I'm like, I'm frustrated. I'm going to go drink coffee. And he walked down at the right time, or wrong time for him.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have a website? What's the company name?
Yeah. So the website is www.HuntLyte. That's HuntLyte.com.
Okay.
And it's at HuntLyte on Instagram and Facebook. Those are the only two socials that I'm on. Working on getting the YouTube stuff going again right now. It's just my personal page, and again, just need to transition into the HuntLyte stuff, because part of my mission, not just as HuntLyte but also as AJ, is to provide more efficient techniques and stuff to saddle hunters, bringing from the climbing world as well as the safety aspect of things. So teaching more, expanding how we can go out, how can we go farther, lighter, faster.
Awesome. So more instructional videos on techniques, stuff like that.
Yeah, and kind of, one of the things, like a big topic that is hot in the industry right now is like there's an assisted belay device called a Mad Rock Safeguard, which a lot of people are using, and it's like, oh, well, how do we back this up? Where do we do this? So the manufacturer says X, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do Y. So showing people from the experience of a mountain guide that Y is applicable if it's followed this way.
Sure.
So that just, there's many ways to accomplish the same goal as long as we're being safe. I just want to show everybody, it's like, hey, you can do it this way, and this way, and you're all getting to the same place.
Perfect. So you retailing all on your website, or?
Retailing on the website right now. The hope is for this year to be able to get into some small mom and pop shops.
Sure.
I don't, one of the great things about having a business is I get to now bring my values out into the world. So I don't necessarily like big box stores personally, so I'm not going to put my product into big box store. I'm not going to get as many sales, but I actually get to put into mom and pop shops and keep it local within the community, which is huge for me.
Sure.
What's a product that people have to see and know about from HuntLyte?
Well, we just launched 2 new packs this year, so I would say the Attack Pack is the one that I'm the most excited about. It's a modular pack that allows for multiple carry options, from a fanny, butt pack, messenger bag. Paired with our harness and our suspenders, you can wear it as a chest pack. You can throw it on your saddle. It's just an all-around versatile pack, from turkey season here in the spring to fall, saddle hunting and tracking.
And there's some features about that really increased organizational components compared to another pack. Do you want to go in on that?
Yeah. So, that in and of itself was a whole rabbit hole for me designing the pack. I had an idea of what I wanted. I was like, I want to carry a half a liter of water because it's a small little bottle. Mm-hmm. I want to carry a pair of gloves, and I want to carry an emergency bivy sack, a lighter, just the basic essentials while I'm out on track. Oh, and in early season, I want to be able to have that stuff too. So the organizational method is I've got a front pocket on the outside that's large enough to fit like all of your kill kit, your license, and you can even fit a sandwich in there if you wanted to. Outside of that, on the front pocket, you have daisy chain lashing, so you can connect either layers, or if you're saddle hunting, you can put a light platform on that. And then I also have that same daisy chain on the bottom, so you can, with shot cord or whatever, put other stuff, your rope, rain jacket, anything on that. Inside of the main compartment of the pack, there's the entire back panel is Velcro, loop Velcro. I'm going to be developing accessory lines, as well as other companies that make Velcro accessories can go on that. So for me, I'm looking at a shotgun shell holder, a pot call holder, and then who knows whatever else I'm going to go through from there. Maybe a way to section it off for like binos or rangefinder as well, so you can still have your basics and keep everything somewhat organized.
Nice. What have you seen the industry coming from, like the conversion rate from obviously basic tree stand hunter now coming into the saddle?
That's a challenging question for me to answer because I have such a small amount of time in the industry myself.
Sure.
But what I've seen just last year is a lot of interest. I think that we have, with like the hunting public and all of these other big names that are out there pushing hunting in general, or at least like the awareness about hunting and the different techniques, more people are interested in it. And we're seeing a lot of people, what I'm seeing a lot of is people who are tree climber hunters. They're using climbers, and they want to transition over to saddles, which is great because I'm terrified of climbers.
Yeah, what a makers.
Yeah.
All right. You were mentioning you're working on getting into mom and pop shops. Are you going to be anywhere else that we can see you in the meantime?
In terms of like just events and everything?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So we're here this weekend at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. The first weekend in April, I'm going to be at the Trinity Baptist Church Sportsman's Festival in Concord, I believe that's where it is. And then, what else do I have? I know there's going to be the Hunt Stock in August.
August 11th.
August 11th, and then whenever Sig Sauer does their hunter warrior hunter thing again this year, I'll be there for that as well. And once I can lock down some more schedules, I do intend to release a schedule of kind of like try before you buy or teach and train events at some of the local retailers in the area.
Awesome.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate it.
We got Nate Chagnon.
Yep.
Chagnon. We got Nate Chagnon, pro staff for Fresh Baitz. Nate, thanks for joining us.
No problem, man. It's awesome that you're out here, willing to sit down with New England companies. I love that you're trying to support local and everything. That's truly amazing.
Yeah, and Fresh Baitz sounds like that kind of fits right into what we're looking to promote, and not only is it local, but it's quality.
It is. We're local out of Worcester, Mass. I'm just on the pro staff. I mean, I fish their baits all over the country. I've done tournaments from Florida to Indiana, and it's at the point I don't use another soft plastic. A lot of their stuff is very original. The Scorpion, you're not going to see that anywhere else, and a lot of people ask, when are you ever going to see a scorpion in water? I won't sit here and argue that,
right,
but I'll argue the fact that if you've ever seen a crawfish run, their tail will flap and kick up settlement. So with our baits, every time you jig it on that owner stand-up jig, what happens is that tail flies forward, kicks up settlement, and then when that bait lands, all our baits float. So those claws come up. It is so aggressive when you actually see it in water that it's more of a crawfish mold than any other crawfish mold I have ever seen.
And you mentioned you fish a trail. How can people follow along with what you're doing?
They can find all of our tournaments on Fishing Chaos. I fish a couple of different trails. I fish the KBF. I do some Hobie BOS. I fish a local trail in Massachusetts Kayak Bassin. I also fish Elite Kayak Fishing, which is a New England-based kayak tournament.
Yep.
They basically stay from Maine to, we'll go into New York and stuff, but mainly New England-based. It's been a lot of fun. I jumped in head deep in 2018, kind of started locally, and next thing I knew, I was sleeping in Walmart parking lots on the road trying to fit a tournament in New York and stuff. And it's been a wild ride, man, that's for sure.
And you mentioned Fresh Baitz is your go-to.
Absolutely.
And you find it effective all over the country.
I do. Alabama, I came in third down there in a KBF event. I threw that Scorpion all day long. I didn't even touch another rod. Caught my PB down there on it. I mean, they're just so effective every time of year. Obviously, we know it's March here. I was out middle of February, put up 14 bass in a day on one bait because they float, pick it right back up, rehook it. It's been a complete game changer for me, especially as a tournament fisherman. 90% of the lakes we're fishing are highly pressured. And this gives them that different look that, especially with the floating, it brings a lot more into it. When you stop that Helamite on a drop shot, it's no longer just falling. That thing is nosing down on that fish.
Yep.
And I didn't even realize how effective it was until I started doing these shows with them. And I actually got to see it while I'm throwing it at the tank. And you watch it pause and go down, and you just see them light up because it's different than how other ones would. And they're like, oh, it's real, snap.
And is there a specific color scheme that Fresh Baitz uses compared to other companies?
They do a lot of different pours. So they do some triple laminate pours. They do a lot of color changing. So depending on what light you're in,
nice.
It's gonna look different to them and all that. And dude, it's crazy some of the stuff Tony comes up with, the mad scientist over there. They just started putting fire tails on their helimites, which I've been pushing for from the beginning. I mean, I love those things, and it seems like once you put that chartreuse tail on anything, it
Smalley candy.
the smallies love it. Really, that Helgramite, they call it the helimite. Dude, that thing doesn't leave the front of my boat. If I need a limit, that's the bait I'm going to from Indiana to Florida, dude. It stays on. So.
Sure. What are your go-to baits specifically? You mentioned the scorpion.
So the scorpion, I do something a little bit different than most people though. I actually take the tail off and I put it on a Z-Man jackhammer chatterbait. Now what that does, the 8 legs of the scorpion actually sit outside of the skirt, and when the blade vibrates, it catches those 8 legs. I've thrown this thing side by side with a Gary Yamamoto Zacco and an Exxon Adrenaline Craw. You can feel the difference in vibration coming off that, and that's huge for me when you're river fishing or trying to drag them out of brush piles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Alabama it was huge. There were a lot of guys down there throwing chatterbait. It was muddy water. We had tornado warnings the day before. It looked like Nesquik. I honestly think the difference in vibration is what drove those bigger fish to that bait.
In the summer, what are you throwing? Are you still throwing scorpion a lot, or you got some other stuff in the arsenal?
Definitely still throwing the scorpion. Their beetle is by far my go-to flipping bait, so I do a lot of that in the summer. I pair it up with a Exxon Arrowhead flipping weight, and what that does is it's flat just like our beetle, and it's also just as wide as our beetle. That when you put it on there, you can get it into the skinnier brush piles that you can't fit a jig into, and a lot of people are only fitting like Senkos into and stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It gets it down in there, but the flappers on the beetle are still giving you that jig distribution where
Sure.
nobody else really getting in with that.
Nice.
The helimite, I'll fish that year-round, you know, offshore. They're always going to hit that on humps, no matter what time of year it is. Ned rig, drop shot. I throw it on little Japanese finesse jigs.
Yeah.
So I'll bounce that in and out of rocks and stuff. They're worms because they float. You get that thing on a shaky head in the summer, you'll do well skipping docks with it because it floats. That thing will go a country mile when you send it. When I first switched from like regular Senkos to theirs, dude, I was putting it up in people's lawns. That thing would skip so well.
Sure.
And then they just dropped a lizard, which I'm interested to see how that does.
So
in the
creature
summer.
bait action.
So I want to definitely Texas rig that up with a nose weight and bounce that in and out of the pads come this summer and see how that one does. But we got a couple other baits that should be coming out soon this year that will definitely be in the summer arsenal.
All right. How can we find fresh baits so we can get some of these things?
You can find them online. If you are in Massachusetts, Ben's Tackle Shack also carries them. To be honest, if you're looking for them and you want a discount, you can go right to my Instagram page, which is CHAGS29. There's a link right on there. If you click that link, you will automatically save 15%, and you can go use that link for every order you want.
Awesome. And then everyone should be following Fresh Baits on Insta just to see new products and everything.
They're
coming
on Insta. They're on Facebook. YouTube is Get Bent TV. You'll
Okay.
see them fishing a lot of the fresh baits. So it's actually the same guys. They started as a YouTube channel, and then around 2019 they started up Fresh Baits as well.
Okay.
So that's actually how I met them. I knew them from when they did the YouTube, and they were out of Worcester. I lived close, and I reached out to them just to get some like shirts and stuff to wear to tournaments. You know, I was
Yeah.
brand new to it. And they were like, yeah, and then like a year later they came out with the Scorpion. Dude, it was lights out for me after that, and I've been with them ever since really the beginning. It's been awesome to see them grow. I mean, you see bait companies come and go every day.
True.
And the way that they keep coming out with unique, different stuff, I think they're going to be around a long time, and I don't think I'll be throwing any other soft plastic.
Right on, man. Yeah, it's a strong endorsement. It sounds like you're a legit angler, and you got a lot of stuff coming up. What do you got for tournaments for this coming trail?
I got a bunch coming up. So our local trails kick off the beginning of April. I actually do some co-angling out of a big boat, and I got my first tournament next weekend, Saturday. Right. I'll be out in the big boat.
It's going to be so spacious after the yak for so many years.
Oh, dude, it's weird, though, because, like, the yak, it's my world. I got my motor on it, and then you go co-angle, and it's like, you feel like a prisoner almost. You don't have your freedom anymore and stuff, so it's different, but we all know if you ever want to make a name in fishing, it's going to be from big boat, so it's find your way in there somehow, Kayak niche has been nice. It's definitely good for the guys who can't afford, the bass boats, even though at this point we're all into our kayaks about over $5,000. But
of course,
it's definitely interesting. I mean, you get into places, a lot of people can't, especially for like states like Mass. Mm-hmm. Our local trail, it's nice because you do a big boat trail out of Mass, you're fishing the same lakes over and over again, where with these kayaks we're able to mix it up and get into a lot of lakes that aren't seeing the pressure from the big boat tournaments, and you definitely see the numbers come out for sure.
Yeah, and you can actually sneak into parts where the big boats can't get to as well, even if it's a pressured spot.
Yep. And then also I'm co-director of a multi-species online tournament. So we run every other month starting in April. And what it is it's saltwater and freshwater.
Okay.
Biggest fish in each category gets 2 points. And then every other fish in that category gets 1 point. And it's a nice way to get beginners in. I mean, it's wide open, that one. You can book a charter boat if you want to go saltwater fishing. Those fish still count. You want to fish from shore with live bait, they count. It's kind of a beginner's tournament. It's amazing. You can find it on Fishing Chaos, Chronic Trips. If you search that, it'll pop up. I believe we're putting a test tournament up this weekend for the newer guys. Can check out Fishing Chaos and figure that out. But Chronic Trips is a company out of Western Mass that I fished a couple of their tournaments, and they asked me if I wanted to come aboard, and it's been fun. It's nice to like have that multi-species because it runs all month. So if you go out and you're fishing a regular tournament, you have a rough tournament day, but say you catch a giant pickerel. Now that giant pickerel means something.
Yeah.
It just made your
it's
whole
no longer
day.
a lake snake.
Yeah, and then so it's payouts to the winners for that, but we also do giveaways. We just got some more sponsors on board, like A-Bay Lures.
Oh yeah, out of New York.
Yep.
Yep.
So he's on with us. So we're gonna be doing some giveaways, stuff like that. It's gonna be a good year, I think, for that as well.
Absolutely. Well, Nate, thanks again for coming on. Fresh Baits, people, check it out, and throw everybody your Instagram handle one more time.
It's CHAGS29, and
right.
Facebook is Nate Chagnon. You can find me on either. You got any questions about Fresh Baits? I love talking fishing. Don't be shy.
All right, man, and good luck this year.
Thank you, man.
All
Thank
right.
you for having me on, too.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's get started. All right, everyone, this is Haley and Avery, and they're with us from AIM, which is Academics, Integrity, and Marksmanship.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having us.
And tell us what AIM is and how you got involved.
So AIM is a youth shooting program in the state of New Hampshire, ranging from ages 9 to 22. And it stands for Academics, Integrity, and Marksmanship. So we work on well-rounded students in the shooting communities.
All right. How long you been involved?
I have been involved in the shooting sports for 6 years now. AIM has been running for, I believe, 4 years now, and I'm one of the original 4 members.
Okay. And what are some events, like what exactly is it that goes on each year that AIM's involved with?
So one of our biggest events and one of the most well-known events for us is Badges and Barrels, and it is our youth shooters against the New Hampshire Conservation Officers from Fish and Game and Northwoods Law.
Okay. How did last year go?
Last year went very well. We ended up taking our third year in a row, and it was very exciting. We got some new officers as well as some new kids out on the fields.
Awesome. What's the overall goal and mission of AIM?
We are doing our best to promote well-rounded youth students in the shooting community, as well as to teach that hunter safety and firearm safety is a life sport, almost as if sex ed.
Okay.
That it is good for the community, as well as getting other kids out into the shooting sports, as well as hunting and fishing.
All right. And how's recruitment going this year?
Recruitment's going well. We always are down to have more kids, the more the merrier. We love getting more students involved within the programs.
And what does that funnel look like? How do people get in touch with you all to get involved with AIM?
So we have some social medias, as well as we're at different expos that you can come see us at. You can look us up. We have a Facebook page, and basically we're also on YouTube. We have certain segments. I do know that Fish and Game within the state of New Hampshire also promotes us.
Great. Do you accept donations, and what's kind of like the fundraising looking like? How can people support AIM?
So we do accept donations. Anything that would be willing to donate or silent auction raffles at Badgers and Barrels, even if it's different shooting vests, something that our kids can use while they grow, as well as monetary donations are gratefully appreciated to help to continue the sport and make sure that our students are able to continue for years to come. And fundraising is going well. We're currently doing raffle tickets. We have a pistol, a rifle, and a shotgun that have been raffled off now.
Okay.
We have a Yeti cooler from Ducks Unlimited that we're raffling off, and we are currently selling challenge coins. We have 300 of them made for our students to sell.
Okay. Do you have any coins on you?
I do have a challenge coin and some tickets on me.
All right. Just so the camera can see what the coins are looking like.
On one side it's the AIM logo, and the other is the Badgers and Barrels logo.
All right. Very nice. Cool. And things are going okay at the Expo? You guys getting some funds?
Oh yes, we're doing a good amount of fundraising and socialization at the Expo so far.
All right. And the director of AIM is here. Do you want to give a shout out to her?
Hi, Missy. Hi, Mom.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for stopping by. When we put the video up, I'll put all your social media handles and everything so people can look in and fundraise for AIM.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you both.
All right.
All right. We're here with Debbie and Cindy from Starlight Lodge Hotels. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Tell us about Starlight Lodge and why it's unique to New England, and how people can learn more about it.
Great. About 7-8 years ago, we started buying up some very small hotels in top destination resort and recreational areas. So now we're in Cape Cod, North Conway, the White Mountains, and central Maine on the coast in the Camden Rockport location.
Nice.
But as we've expanded in the last few years, we've added guest stay experiences at Acadia National Park, and we have one underway right now at Lake Winnipesaukee. So we're covering all the places in New England that you would want to go for fun and recreation.
Great. Is it something that maybe like an outdoorsman would be able to go utilize for a trip, as well as like a whole family to go out?
It's everything. First of all, we're very small, so it's very boutique-y. We renovated these properties. They look like old 1950s quintessential New England motels on the side of the road, but they're in these tremendous locations. Mm-hmm. However, on the inside, you'd be hard-pressed to find a nicer room. They're super flexible. We have family suites. We have suites with kitchenettes. We have places that are romantic with fireplaces.
Dog-friendly.
All of them are dog friendly.
Good perk.
And the only thing we don't have is hot tubs. We get asked that from time to time. People want to know, can I live in a hot tub? And the answer is no, sorry. But everything else we have. So to answer your question, we do groups, we do weddings and events, we do one-off stays, romance stays, and of course lots and lots of tourists through and vacations and families.
And we're open year-round to all three properties, so we even have people that are working in the off-season. We have linemen that come to some properties. I have a cable company that stays with us every year.
Perfect.
An asphalt company. So we're available for anybody who needs a clean nice place to stay in those locations.
I thought you said an asshole company, but you said asphalt. Right?
Asphalt.
Sorry, am I allowed to say that on a podcast?
Of course.
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
I was hoping you would say like more swears.
But we would give them a room too if they needed one.
Special discount.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's an advantage too, because I feel like a lot of seasonal places, when you're like the first customer after they've opened up, they're still kicking the rust off, but you're staying well oiled year round.
We are, and you'd be surprised. Right now, the Cape location, which is near the famous Mayflower Beach,
Sure.
on the north side on Route 6A. We just had our best February ever in the 8 years that we've been operating that hotel. Cindy just told me she booked somebody at Acadia National Park, because we have something in downtown Bar Harbor. It's a unique stay, so it's a condo. It suits, sleeps four people.
Full kitchen.
Yeah, it's a whole beautiful condo, but people come up there to hike into the park, because you can walk into the park from our condo in downtown Bar Harbor, and then afterwards come out and go to the pubs and stuff in Bar Harbor. It's a little quiet up there in the winter, but people do like to do ice hiking.
Okay, sure. All right, I'm going to throw a few scenarios out there, and you can tell me like which package or which location might be best.
Okay.
All right, a family of 5, 3 young kids.
Cape Cod in the summer, because the kids love the Cape. They love the beaches.
Maine would be the runner-up because we have a swimming pool as well.
Perfect.
We're located really nicely on Mid-Coast Maine, so they could have lots of great day trips from our location.
Okay.
Lighthouses, you can climb rocks. There's state parks that have beaches. There's a favorite excursion for a group like that. You take the ferry from Lincolnville, which is not far from Rockport, where the hotel is located. You go to Point Pendleton State Park in your car after you get off the ferry. Costs very little to take the ferry over there. And the park is like the tip of an island, Islesboro, where John Travolta and Kirstie Alley had houses, very posh. And no one ever goes over there. You take your own picnic. We provide picnic baskets right out of our office. And you drive your car right into your own little patch of private beach. And then the kids can run, climb rocks. It's very natural. Everywhere we have properties, we're near a national park. So in the Cape, it's the Seashore National Park,
Okay.
which runs 60 miles in Cape Cod,
Yes.
and Acadia National Park up north in Maine, and then in the White Mountains, it's of course the National Forest.
Gotcha.
So for kids, there's easy hikes, like if it was New Hampshire, there's hikes very close by us. Diana's Baths is a famous one,
Yep, been there.
where the kids can go in. It's about a 20-minute walk. It's an easy path, very accessible for small children. And then the payoff is fantastic when you get up to Diana's Baths. There's natural waterfalls and pools that have formed, and people take their kids up there all the time to go swimming.
Fun. All right, a group of ladies just need a weekend away from their families.
All 3 properties.
Yeah, I would say. And we've had them in BYOB, yeah.
But if they
Good
came
disclaimer.
to see us in Maine, they get up in the morning, they could go have a great breakfast in Rockland or in Camden. There's great shopping in Rockland and Camden. There's some day spas in both areas.
Gotcha.
They could go antiquing in Ellsworth. They could drive up there. I mean, there'd be plenty for them to do. And in the evening, nice weather, they can sit outside the fire pit and have some s'mores.
I have personally invited girlfriends, and we've gone to all 3 properties, and we've had a blast everywhere we went. And actually, Cindy was just mentioning before we got on air here, if people came with a fisherman, if her husband was a fisherman, not that women aren't good fishermen, fisher folk too, but if they came with spouses that wanted to fish and they do not, there is a lot to do in each of the locations while your spouse is off doing the thing they came there for. But I would say hiking in all 3 locations or down at the beach in the Cape are the big things that people do with girls, guys, and of course there's really good golf courses near all of our hotels.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was up to me, it would be like Hunt, Fish, Golf, New England. So that's appealing to me.
There's room on your hat.
Yeah, hunt, fish, golf. Well, the golf courses, for example, down at the Cape, we're close to 2 public courses in Dennis, as well as the famous rail trail.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Yeah.
minutes from the entrance to the rail trail. So if you were a family or 2 people or by yourself, The rail trail is minutes from us. You can drive your car over and park at the rail trail, or you could bike up it. There's a hill to get up to the rail trail, so I prefer bike, park at the rail trail, and then be on the flats for the whole time.
All right. And what does it mean to both of you to be a local American company?
It's a great question. I mean, I've lived all over the United States, and I lived in Mass as a kid, so for me, to come back to New England very much felt like coming home, and to be able to help people enjoy the things that I've enjoyed as a child and now as an adult, and to be, the face of hospitality to whoever comes through our door. That's a big deal, a big responsibility, and really it's a privilege and an honor to be able to do that.
Yeah, because you're more on like the management side of things,
right in the front office when they come in.
All right.
Cindy's one of the innkeepers. She's in the main location. I'm going to answer that question just right off the pages of something that just happened. One of my partners is from Ukraine, and he called me recently, and he said, you don't realize what a great country. There's no other country like the United States of America. He said it's the greatest country in the whole world. He said everywhere I've ever been, I just continuously appreciate America for what it is. And I think we Americans also do, and we love America, but we need to remember that there is nowhere else on planet Earth that is as grand and as beautiful and as great an experiment in freedom as this country, and it's worthy and it's worth protecting, and we have so much beauty here. So all three of these locations, one thing that I love and love being an American about is that whether it's the beaches and the sunsets on Mayflower Beach in the Cape that's 5 minutes from us, or in Maine just sitting on a rocky cleft and looking out at a crashing wave at Acadia National Park and seeing a seal pop up in front of your eyes, or up in the White Mountains, the majesty. I actually call Mount Washington the mighty mountain because it's awe-inspiring. So what does it mean to be an American? That we're so ultra privileged, and for those of us who are in business, we're grateful. We're blessed beyond our own capacities because we didn't earn being born here, and I feel very grateful. And in our case, we just came through COVID, and as a hotel that survived COVID when all three governments of our states shut us down, that was a big thing for us.
Yeah.
To recover from.
And an even better reason for all of us to support a local company instead of a big chain hotel or something when we go.
Well, I've nothing against the leaders. We follow the leaders in many cases because they have more money than we do to tell us, whether we should have coffee makers in the rooms or what people really want. So we let Marriott, be the groundbreakers for us. And then if we think something's really great about what they do, nothing against the big chains. They spend a lot of money on advertising. We're a very, very different animal. One thing about us is no two rooms are alike, but they're all similar, and they all have the same great decor style and super clean. So, we try to run. I once had a student from another country who came to work for us in the summer, and he said, well, I don't think I have to clean the rooms because it's not like you're the Hilton or anything. I said, if you say that one more time, I'm going to fire you. And I'll tell you why. We don't aspire to be the Hilton. We aspire to be the Ritz-Carlton, and we follow what the people who have done at a high level of excellence have done, because we can be just as excellent even though we're small. And I'm very proud to say that after 8 years, all three of our hotels are 5-star TripAdvisor award-winning hotels, all three of them.
Congratulations.
And multi-year. And we still have rooms at $99 at a start rate. Now our rates are getting up in the season, but we try to say to people, we are affordable luxury. And we at StarlightLodgeHotels.com, and we try to meet every budget. So that's what it means to be a local business. And after that, it's hard. You cry. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And there's nobody who works for me who hasn't cried at some point.
But at the same time, you're also supporting American jobs, right? Between your staff.
Absolutely, and I think,
and then like the local community.
And when you mentioned that question before, like all of the innkeepers, we do our due diligence, our recon in our areas. And so I don't send people to McDonald's. I don't send people to Chili's. I send them to the local coffee shop. I send them to the local pub in Rockland. I send them to the local used bookstore. because it's important as a small business for us to model that behavior and to support small business ourselves. And so we do our work to make sure we know where to send our guests, whichever property they're.
Yeah, and we have values. During COVID, when we were closed and we had no business, zero, we did not let anybody go. We kept everybody who wanted to stay. Some people didn't want to stay because they were afraid, and that was okay too. We hired them back later. But we were committed to what you just said, Matt, jobs. We were committed to keeping everybody employed. And again, for 6 months, I didn't know if we were going to declare bankruptcy, but we didn't, and we toughed it out, and we cried a lot, and we did what we had to do to stay thriving. But as God is my witness, He's blessed us, and we came back from that, and so I'm very grateful for that. And we have a lot of values. We're open to all. We welcome people. We welcome dogs. Sorry, no cats, because they're
not dogs.
They're not dogs. I guess that's it. But although I like to tell people I am bipedal, I like both equally. It's just we can't have cats because people are allergic to cats, and we can't keep the rooms clean enough if there's a cat in the room. But Cindy's right. We send people locally up in Maine for dinner, places like Ports of Italy, run by a local company, Archers on the Pier, Primo, one of the top James Beard Award-winning chefs is in Maine, was just recently on, what's the guy, the Hell's Kitchen guy? Gordon Ramsay just came and did like a cook-off with one of the chefs that were local. We send people to the local restaurants. We buy local. We hire local trades when we need fix and repair. We believe in American business. And then we welcome everybody. We're a rainbow flying American flag flying company, and as a result, we get top guest reviews because it's personal. The innkeepers are on site, like Cindy and her husband Earl, and Jim and Sylvia in New Hampshire, and Karen and Ron in the Cape, and people come back because of that personal service. So you don't get that. You don't get that at a big company.
That's true. That was the point I was thinking. There's nothing like local, honestly.
And it's interesting because we're staying, 4 of the 6 innkeepers are staying in town for the show this weekend.
Oh, okay.
And what a marked difference from what we provide on a daily basis to our guests to what we've received. Nothing wrong, but it just the things that I'm like, we don't do that, or that's the 3rd person I've seen at the front desk since I've been here, and they don't know my name, they don't know my needs, they don't, it's interesting what you're able to provide on a smaller level that you're not able to provide on a grand scale.
Yeah, it's very in-like, and when I hire innkeepers, it's like central casting, Mr. and Mrs. Claus. We want people who like doing this, who want to talk to the people who are staying here, and then who love the concierge aspect of their job. You need a sub delivered? Okay, Camden House of Pizza if it was Maine, or we know where the fish are, so to speak, for the fishing people.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, let's talk fishing, because honestly, this is new to us. And we all had to make phone calls to harbor masters and talk to charter captains in our areas. We already have their brochures in our lobbies. But if we want to send people out, we take the time to find out, okay, you want to see a moose at 3 o'clock in the morning? We know where to send you to do that. You want to get married at the top of a mountain, you need a specialty guide to take you to the top of one of the White Mountains. We got somebody who'll take you to the top of Mount Jefferson, or not Mount Washington necessarily, but one of the mountains out in the presidential range, and they will get you there and they'll marry you too. So we pride ourselves on being that intimate, a curated vacation experience. And if you want to be left alone,
we can do that too.
We can do that too, and you don't even need to see a body to check in.
Nope.
It's all
remote.
It's all modern. We don't need to see you at all. Right?
Unless you want to see us.
Perfect.
But that allows someone to roll in at 1 o'clock in the morning and not feel bad about their late arrival. They're keeping somebody up, and that I think helps people relax on a trip, and just they know in Maine they can arrive.
And we do that across Starlight Lodge. So all 3 hotels are called Starlight Lodge. So it's Starlight Lodge Cape Cod, Starlight Lodge North Conway, and Starlight Lodge at Rockport Harbor, and that's Maine. And then we have these really cool, unique stays. So in Cindy's case, she's got a glamping site on 3 acres with a private beach at Acadia National Park location. And we call that the Starlight, what do we call that? The Starlight Experience.
The Puma Experience.
Yeah.
Charlie Beach.
And then we have an old 1860s captain house on Korea Harbor where the last lobster fleet along the coast of Maine is housed and or docked, and that fleet goes in and out of the harbor every day. It is the most beautiful thing. We have this ginormous deck out of the 4-bedroom house that overlooks the harbor and watches the sunset. Cadillac Mountain is in the distance. If you want to fish off the beaches, any of these places, we know where to send people for doing that. So for your fishing people, Matt, Starlight Lodge has that answer too. Although we had to learn about fish, what the seasons
learning
were.
Still, yep.
Yeah, like where the stripers are.
Running, yeah.
When they run, when the bait fish run.
Yep.
And that's really fun for us. That's exciting and new and different.
Great. All right, so give us the website again.
StarlightLodgeHotels.com.
All right, and people can also probably find you on the interwebs and call in to make reservations as well.
Yeah, if you go to StarlightLodgeHotels.com, it gets you to all 3 of our hotels, and then all of the managers can get you to any of the specialty properties. They can get you to any of the hotels. They can book you. If you ended up talking to Cindy, she can book you into Cape Cod. She can book you into North Conway, and the other managers can do the same into Maine as well.
Wonderful. Any social media platforms people can follow along on?
Facebook.
Okay.
Huge amount. People always ask us, can I see more pictures than your websites? And the answer is yes. Just like us on Facebook. And the Facebook pages are unique to the hotels. So it's Starlight Lodge Cape Cod, Starlight Lodge Rockport, and Starlight Lodge North Conway on Facebook. And there are thousands of photos, all seasons. It really shows you the rooms. It shows you things to do. And it always gets you to us.
All right, well, anything else you'd like to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, tell us about how we dovetail in with what you're doing in terms of the hunting and fishing community in Hunt Fish New England.
Honestly, I think you covered it. We really do value local companies and industries that support hunting and fishing, but also give anybody doing any of this recreation or just enjoying the outdoors a local, meaningful, genuine, authentic experience. And it sounds like Starlight Lodge Hotels fits.
We are super authentic and also woman-owned, which is
there you go.
That, and we are diversified in terms of our personnel, and we're very proud of all of those things.
All right. Well, all right, Starlight Lodge Hotels.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much.
Bought a bass boat, bought a fish finder, and all that kind of stuff. And so that fish finder video, a review event and install kind of like took off, and that kind of like started my channel. I'm like, oh, this is addicting. So I filmed all my local tournaments, and then I went on left Vermont after 2 years, went on a 6-month road trip around the United States, fished Canada and Wyoming and Montana, and did all that stuff, and then kind of came back and like kind of resituated my channel to New Hampshire, where I didn't want to really do bass fishing because it was every Saturday and Sunday. It was either stay married or do bass fishing tournaments. So I love my wife, who's letting me do this podcast now, by the way. Kind of stopped doing the tournament style because it's very time consuming and very expensive, and just started doing just normal content. So I do fly fishing content here in New Hampshire from the top of the state all the way to the bottom, and I go to Vermont and in Maine as well, and Massachusetts if I have to. I just got to buy a license for all the states. So I do that a bunch, and in this last couple years I've moved back to New Hampshire. I live right outside of Manchester, and I've been focusing on fly fishing content, striped bass content, and lake trout jigging content, which is where my bread and butter from my channel is. Not a lot of people do it across the lake trout belt, if you want to call it that, which is similar to the ice belt. There is some places like Massachusetts that don't get consistent ice.
Right.
But that's kind of the focus for the channel.
So Bend It Fishing, you're on YouTube, you're on TikTok, Facebook, Insta.
Yes. Across the board.
Handles the same for all
Handles
of them?
the same. Instagram is bend_it_fishing, just because of the way Instagram works.
Yeah.
And it was originally Bend It Bass Fishing, and in the last year I actually took the bass fishing word out just to make it more multi-species, because I have a short attention span, and I try to focus on. I can't just do one species all the time. I just get bored of it. So that's why I said fly fishing, and then stripers and crappie, and I just bounce around a lot, which is not great as far as YouTube's concerned, but that's what I like to do. YouTube wants you to be like one species, one niche, and like that's how they help people. But
yeah,
is what it is, you know.
Gotcha. What's on the register for this year?
Yeah, for this year, it's kind of doing the same thing I did last year. For those who are watching the content or have watched the content before, I have a couple of sponsors that help me through the ice fishing season. So Eskimo and Ion Eskimo Ice Fishing Shacks and their clothing line helped sponsor me this past season, which is fantastic, along with Snow Dog, which is the snow machine that I use, and Circle Tackle when they're in the booth, probably 100 feet away from us. So been
Nice
using their
local
stuff.
company.
Yep. So that was ice fishing season. Ice fishing season is going to be done for me in the next couple weeks. But as far as this season going up, it's going to be a lot of lake trout jigging, lake trout content, because I actually started selling and making my own baits midsummer last year.
Okay.
And that's a big part of my internal revenue for my company, and keeping the bills paid, keeping the gas in the boat, in the truck.
Yeah.
Especially with gas season last year, it was kind of killing me. I didn't do a lot of big trips last year just because gas was outrageous. So
yes,
I plan on going to Sebago and Champlain and doing a lot of that content as much as possible, and stripers and fly fishing. And then I have a fly fishing sponsor called Post Fly. It's a subscription box that they work with me all summer long. I do a couple of videos for them a month, so they're a great sponsor for me throughout the year.
Gotcha. What's coming up first for you? You gonna go do some brookie fishing, or are you gonna go right to schoolies? What's the deal?
My work, so I do the YouTube full time and I do consulting on the time, so those schedules all kind of get all messed up. But what's next for me is I have one last ice fishing trip, this next ice fishing camping trip, and I don't release that video till next year because everybody's kind of done with ice fishing mentally, including myself. This winter was like the worst I've had so far just because ice was terrible.
You said it's ice camping?
Ice camping, so I'll be sleeping on the ice for 3 days basically, two overnights and 3 days on the ice. And then after that I'll be doing a shakedown trip for the boat. So I usually take the boat out locally, where I do a rundown of the motor, make sure everything works great. I got new trolling motor batteries this year, lithiums, which are kind of like knockoff lithium, so I'm afraid my boat's going to light on fire because I'm not going to spend $3,000 on lithium batteries for my boat yet. But first it's probably going to be just that shakedown trip, and then probably a crappie trip after that just to get something local, and then it'll be off to Sebago or Winnipesaukee or something like that, just to get that open water season, which is April 1st.
Right on.
If we have open water, which we don't know at this point.
It's a weird season. It's kind of like latent, you know. It was
everything
like
was staggered a whole month.
Yeah.
It's been funky at least.
Where you still find the ice right now?
So I was on 12 inches of ice yesterday at a local pond, probably 20 minutes north of here, and then Winnipesaukee probably has 16 inches of ice on parts of it.
Damn.
But the slush and snow snow/slush that we just had, I was on like a good 10 inches of ice, and then I moved out to like part of a main lake, and it went down to like 3 inches of ice, and it was all slush, so it got really sketchy there. So I think we'll lose ice pretty quick in the main lake, but it'll be slow other than that. But.
All right. Again, Josh Treadwell, Bend It Fishing. What are some products that you have that people might be able to get in addition to your content?
Yeah, so benditfishing.company.site is my website, and I'm sure you'll leave a link for that below. But one of the reasons I started the bait making side of my stuff is, one, income and to help people catch fish. So when I first moved to New Hampshire, I was watching all these lake trout videos, and from Canada mainly. Yeah. And their fish are 3 times the size of our fish. So they're using giant bucktails, they're using giant 3-inch or 6-inch baits, and our bait's not that big. So I struggled for 3 years. I finally talked to an old timer, and he says, I'm using this 2-inch jig with a little tiny tungsten jig on it, 2-inch paddle tail. So I sell 7mm tungsten jigs, which is like almost a 1/4 of an ounce, size 4 hook. I sell those on my website. I sell chartreuse glow in the dark and white glow in the dark. And then I sell basically little tiny pin smelt size baits that I hand pour myself in my garage.
Beautiful.
And I sell those, and then I'm coming out with a heavier duty line for 3/4 ounce and 1 ounce tin jigs or lead-free jigs. So that's what I sell, and I also have hats and beanies and stuff like that. But most people are buying baits because I want people to go out and catch fish. It's not like just part of my business. I struggled for 3 years with no help, and I'm kind of out there to help teach. And like there's been a couple dozen people this year. It's like, oh, I bought your baits and I caught my first lake trout within the first hour of using them. And I've been using the wrong stuff for the last 3 years, and I wonder why I wasn't catching anything.
And that's what we've realized. A lot of companies that are local, they have a local, change to it. Like,
yeah, exactly. They have to.
Like Jason over at Crazy Hick, right?
Yep.
For a while, I was like throwing Senkos and throwing stuff that people in the South were throwing, and I was doing okay. But then I started throwing his stuff that's catered to New England, and it just changed the game.
Yep.
So it sounds like you're taking that same approach to the ice fishing world.
Yeah, you kind of have to. And I like I said, I struggled for so long. I was so frustrated with the big leg Winnipesaukee. I actually have a video. I'm like, I failed 3 times in Winnipesaukee. I still haven't caught what I wanted to come to. Yeah. And I've learned a lot in the last few years from help from people and sponsors helping me out quite a bit, and just getting my name out there and getting this the baits out there to help everybody catch fish. And they work for a lot of other species too. I use them for crappie, and I've caught salmon on them and smallmouth bass and all that kind of stuff. But we have one type of forage here in New Hampshire. That's pretty much it, or 2. One's massive, and you just catch big lake trout if you want to. But if you want to catch a lake trout, the smaller baits are the better.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. And where can we get the products again?
Benditfishing.company.site. So I haven't bought a full domain yet because I just don't want to.
You're not the only one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So I'm sure you'll leave the link below. And if you watch any of my YouTube videos or my Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, you'll find all the links for that kind of stuff below. And that's the best way to do it.
Perfect. Well, Josh, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah,
it's
no
very helpful to us to have someone in the industry come and share their time with us and help us get our message out there. So
awesome.
Hopefully we are helping you in return as well.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to come back again for a specific species. I'm multi-species, so we want to talk about one thing, then let's talk about one thing.
Yeah, we'll do a full-length one this year for sure.
Oh, perfect.
All right, Josh, thanks again.
All right, thank you.
Josh Treadwell, Bendit Fishing. Check him out. Thank you. All right, we're live.
All right, excellent.
All right, everyone, this is Fred Allard, and he's your best friend if you've been in Facebook jail.
That's right.
And particularly if you're in Facebook jail or something similar due to a hunting or fishing related situation. Fred, tell us about your company and why people might want to get involved.
Yeah, so our name of the company is the Outdoor Gazette. We used to be a paper publication years ago. Well, now it's a social media app. It's kind of like Facebook for outdoorsmen.
Nice.
And we go by the mantra that, dead deer, a little bit of blood, maybe a picture of a firearm is all okay. Reality is fine with us, so we won't ban you for posting that kind of stuff. And if you get ridiculed for it, they'll be gone, not you. So
Perfect. Yeah, it's like opposite of what you see on the other platforms.
Right.
How long has the Outdoor Gazette been out for people?
Yeah, so we worked on it for a few years now, but we just launched it about 7 weeks ago. Our first expo was the ATA show in Indianapolis.
Oh, right on.
That was the first time that humans actually got to use it, and we had built it using simulators. So we got out there, all the engineers were with me at the booth. As people signed up, they would work on any problems we had and fix them immediately. So it was a really cool experience for them to see us actually working on the app right there.
What a great launch.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was really fun. And so that was our first show. Then we went to Vermont, then Massachusetts. We're here, and we're headed to Maine next. So.
Oh, what's the show in Maine?
It's not the Eastern Maine, but the other one. Maine Sportsman Show, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go check that out.
Yeah. 2 weeks from now.
Okay,
Yeah.
noted.
Yeah.
Noted. What were you doing before the Outdoor Gazette, and how'd you get into it, even before it was the paper version?
So I'm a nurse.
Okay.
And I've been a nurse for a number of years, but I always loved the outdoors. And I actually went to college for wildlife biology way back when. So outdoors has always been my passion, and nurse paid the bills. And so now I'm just trying to get back into it as I try to wean out of my nursing career. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Is it available for Android and iPhone?
Yes, Android and iPhone, both of them are available. We have QR codes. You can scan it over at the booth here today, but you can just do a search on either one called the Outdoor Gazette, and it's free to download. So,
all right, it's free. Just gotta create a username.
That's it. Yeah.
What are most people posting about? Is it because it can't be all kill shots and everything?
No.
Even though it's allowed.
Yeah. So one of our functions of the app is we can't track you, for one thing.
Beautiful.
We have no idea what you're doing on the app. But some people, like my wife, she doesn't mind venison, doesn't care that I hunt, loves it. I have deer heads everywhere, but she doesn't want to see dead animal pictures.
Right.
So when she logs on, she can select, I don't want to see hunting pictures, and those are all gone for her.
Oh, nice.
So, but she loves to forage, she loves to garden, she loves to can, and all that stuff's part of the Gazette too. Foraging, hiking, camping, all the outdoors, but you don't have to see the stuff you don't want to see.
So if I just want to see trail cam pics,
I can
just filter out everything and
yeah.
just see trail cam pics.
It is limited. You can't like filter out everything.
Yeah.
But you can pick like the 5 or 10 top things you don't want to see and get rid of them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And then you can also star the ones you want to see most, and they'll come to the top for you. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's how it works. Yeah.
All right.
So when you post, it's very important for everybody's enjoyment that you post correctly or tag your post correctly. So if it's like if you have a dead animal, it's got to be a hunting tag, right? So just please do that. But,
Sure, yeah, nothing illegal. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the user testimonials been like? Are people excited about this? People who have been like maybe shadow banned or in Facebook jail? How are people responding to it?
The reaction's really good, and we have lots of users signed up. But the issue we find so far is that there's like 800 people signed up. Everybody's just watching, right? Nobody's really engaging a lot.
Sure.
Until now, it's starting to pick up now. But
good.
We've got all these people just sitting there watching and not doing anything with it. So, but now it's starting to pick up. So.
I think it's extremely important. Hunting and fishing, well, especially in this case, hunting. It's a heritage, and I think there's a lot of stigma to it. And I think if more people fought through that stigma, they'd really understand how important it is.
Right.
And, just looking around here, there's so many guides and people who like make a living off of this, but it's also essential from a biology and ecology standpoint.
That's what's great about my display of deer.
It's the best display here.
Oh, thank you.
Easy, hands down.
The kids come over and just tons and tons of pictures with kids holding the deer. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Do you want to describe your display for people listening?
So if you are familiar with YouTube and mountain deer, those guys, Rod, and he's a taxidermist, and he's a friend of mine, and he made those mounted two deer for me. They're hanging like they're from a game pole, fully mounted, like you would see at any deer camp in America. It looks pretty cool. Reviews on Facebook have been mixed, but it's publicity either way, so I'll take it.
It's the best display.
Thank you so much.
Where did the deer come from anyway?
So the biggest racked buck over there was a roadkill from Vermont back in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
And it was sitting in Rodney's shop, and he asked me if I wanted it, and I said, yeah, I'll take it.
It's in great shape for the 40s.
And this is what I want you to do with it. He goes, what? I've never done that before. I know, nobody's ever done that, right, Rodney? He goes, I don't think so. Let's do it. So, of course, he did it, not me. But then the other one, I had shot a doe in Kentucky with my bow, and I was tracking her, and they came across this deadhead, old rotten buck with nice rack. So I grabbed his rack, grabbed my doe, and out of the woods I came. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is the best display. I'll do my best to add an image of that to the video once we get things going here.
That. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Fred, anything else you want to mention about the Outdoor Gazette?
Yeah, it's on the App Store, Google Play Store. Try it out. Give us some feedback. We're brand new, so if there's any issues, please let us know. Our engineers will fix them right away, and we're just here for the hunters and fishermen and outdoors people all over the country. So
awesome. Yeah. All right. Fred Allard from Vermont with the Outdoor Gazette.
Yeah,
keeping us out of Facebook jail.
That's right.
All right. Fred, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
All right. TJ and Thomas, thank you for coming on. TJ, you're a Maine guide at Maineiac Outfitter out of Maine.
Registered Maine hunting, fishing, recreation guide. Big thing is trout and salmon, right? Maine's known for brook trout. So that's really the primary target. Salmon, of course, is it's there, but I like to go for the brookies.
Yeah.
The drift boat's the big draw.
Okay.
So, drifting the East Outlet, the Kennebec, the West Branch Penobscot, those are kind of the two of the bigger rivers. Everybody likes to go to East Grand or Rangeley, but I do the Moosehead region and the Penobscot with the drift boat. So pretty much all fly fishing.
Okay.
Very little spin cast. A little bit of trolling here and there, changed up. That's about it, though.
Fun. How long you been doing it for?
I got my guide license, my first license in 2016, and went full-time essentially in 2018, I guess it was. Started out at an outfitter, getting my feet wet.
Yep.
And then just went kind of all in on my own. And then that's what I do. It's all I do now, guide and coach on the side.
Okay, what do you coach?
Track and field for high school.
All right.
It's right in Central Maine.
Busy man.
Try to stay busy, especially with the kids, and it's definitely a busy life.
You got my attention with the brookies because you're right. I think a lot of people talk salmon a lot, and maid guides, they always want to talk about whitetail and moose too.
Yep.
Let's talk brookies a little bit. When does the season usually ramp up for brookies if people are looking to book a trip?
So if you really want to get into the brook trout, you're looking at like mid-May, and it kind of varies from year to year, of course, depending on how the winter unfolds and how the spring unfolds with runoff and snowfall, ice, etc. But on average, you're talking mid to late May. The bug hatches really start coming off late May, and then as you get through June, depending on where you go, you get into July, and you're starting to kind of thin out as to where you can really target brookies. And again, it varies slightly with the weather. But once you get into the warmest part of the summer, late July, August, really don't want to go after the brook trout too awful hard. Pulling a brook trout from out of a spring hole on a remote North Maine pond into 70-degree surface temperature water.
Yeah.
Not a great thing for the health of the fish. So we really try not to go after those fish during that time. So then you're looking at end of September through October in select places. Maine's a little funky as far as its dates. So a lot of places shut down September 30th.
Is that because they're spawning, or what's the purpose?
The primary reason is the spawn.
Got it.
It's to keep people away from them while they're spawning.
Yeah.
Like all of the ponds, with the exception of the stocked ponds, close at the end of September.
Got it.
The only river that really stays open that's prime, well, it's not the only river, I shouldn't say that, but it's like the primary river is the East Outlet. And you can have some of the best fishing of the year in October on the East Outlet. It's prime spawning ground for trout and salmon. They're coming out of Moosehead Lake, Maine's biggest lake.
Yep.
And there's big fish, the biggest fish are going to come into the river to spawn, and it can be good.
What's like average size for brookies up there that you're pulling in?
Well, it's hard to say average size, I guess, overall, if you want to talk about between like streams, ponds, rivers, lakes. 12 inches, I guess, is decent fish. But of course, if you're in a small stream, you're talking 6 to 8 inches.
Yeah, like those small natives.
Yeah. The little the back mountain streams.
Yeah.
You get 4 to 6 inches, sometimes 8. If
That's
you get
so
an 8
fun,
inch,
though.
That's a big one.
Yeah. What about like the bigger bodies of water? What are you pulling in?
Well, Moosehead Lake is known for its big brook trout, right? People go to Moosehead Lake, especially through the ice, for the big brookies, and we're talking 5, 6, 7 pound brook trout.
Dang.
Is it frequent? No, definitely not.
But there's potential there.
But
for
the
it.
potential is there. If you want a big brook trout in Maine, Moosehead Lake is generally the place you're going to go to find that. There are remote ponds that have 3 to 4 pound brookies. I can't say regularly, but they're there. And there's bigger ones, of course, like anywhere. Everybody, I'm sure, has a 4 or 5 pound brookie in it.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of
being able to catch it,
finding
right?
it. Yeah.
Well, that's why we hire you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What about for hunting guide services? What do you guys offer?
Yeah, so hunting wise, I do moose. For those that are lucky enough to draw a tag.
Yep. Hopefully it'll be us soon.
Yeah. Hopefully. Oh, give me a call. I do. I'm a little. I like old school kind of thing. I set up the old wall, like the canvas wall tent.
Beautiful.
Remote in the zone. The whole shebang. All your bedding. It's carpeted, wood stove, wood, full kitchen.
Nice.
Dining area. It's pretty cushy as far as if you want to call it backwoods camping. And that includes everything: your food, your hunt, and if we get a moose early, which is it's a goal.
Yeah.
Get it done. You spend the rest of the time grouse hunting.
Okay.
So rough grouse, partridge, the ditch chicken, whatever you want to call it.
Nice.
We will, however long anyone wants to stay in camp. If you book a moose hunt, you got me for 6 days of guiding. So that's Monday through Saturday. So if moose is taken Tuesday, we got 4 days of grouse to shoot.
That's wonderful.
Or until you get your limit.
Gotcha.
But those are the 2 hunts I do. I'll do just grouse and then moose.
Perfect. Are you able to get out yourself hunting and fishing as much as you'd like, or how does? I always think about that. Like a lot of people get into the work because they're passionate about it, but then they lose their ability to engage in the recreation.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. I have to build it into my schedule.
Sure.
I do for the last 11 years, I've been doing like a spring guys trip kind of deal.
Nice.
Where it's like, a bunch of my old high school buddies and my father, of all people, who comes hangs out with my high school friends. It's kind of an odd thing. And hopefully someday my kids will join us on that trip when they get old enough. But we go somewhere like that I don't guide generally.
Great.
Like Rangeley, because I don't guide in Rangeley, for example. So we'll go over there, or we'll go somewhere up in the North Woods and just set up shop for 4 days and fish and hang out and have a good time.
I like it.
Same thing with the family. I have to just book a time like, hey, we're going to go here 4 days on this date, and I just block it off in the calendar. It's just, it has to happen that way. Otherwise, it would never, nothing would ever come to fruition. But even then, my son's sitting next to me here. I have to make him come out and fish. Otherwise, or I'm guiding basically.
He's got the mic
kids.
On now.
Yeah.
You don't have to make me.
No, but I got to guide you though. That's the thing.
Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Way to stand your ground, Thomas.
Most of the times I can do it by myself.
Yeah, now you can. Now that you're older, big bad teenager.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you guys out of? Where's base camp for you guys?
So base operations basically for the guiding itself is like the Moosehead region. We have a camp in Greenville.
Mm-hmm.
That it might have a little bit of turnover with that. This still going to be available this year, but that's kind of like the hub, so to speak. So I try to string everything together, like the East Outlet, for example, which comes out of Moosehead, or the West Branch of the Penobscot and the Big Eddy Campground.
Yeah.
It's you camp there, and you basically walk out of your tent and you're fishing.
That's beautiful.
It's perfect, and so I'll stay there and just take people fishing right there.
Great.
So it's a great spot.
How should people get in contact with you so they can book a trip?
Best way, just you can check me out on the website. It's just www.maineiacoutfitter.com. That's the best way. It has all my contact info there. I'm on Facebook, again, Maineiac Outfitter. Follow me on Instagram, Maineiac Outfitter.
Nice.
And that's it. Message me, call me, email me, text me, whatever works for you. I'm everywhere. Google Maineiac Outfitter. I'm all over the place.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thanks for taking the time to come over. I know it's been a busy day. I really appreciate the time, and looking forward to people checking your guys' services out. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
All right. We're here with the guys from Red Oak Outfitters. To my immediate right, George Furo.
Yep.
And Garrett Namey.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you guys are guiding out of Maine. Whereabouts in Maine?
Roughly central Maine, just 20 minutes north of Bangor, Maine.
Okay. And what do you specialize in terms of guiding?
Black bear and moose.
Okay. All right. So which season comes first for those who don't know?
Black bear season comes first. We start hunting the end of August in through September. Then it's late September, October is the moose. It's by lottery in Maine.
Okay.
Moose are.
Yeah, we spend the whole month before the bear bait season just getting those sites ready to go, throwing bait in them every other day.
All right. And I heard there's almost wars trying to get bait up there. There's so much baiting going on.
There is. It can be. Some years it's can be short on bait.
How was last season for you guys?
Pretty good. We did fairly well. We ran about 70% kill.
Okay.
On our sites. So.
Yeah, I had a couple people see bears and not shoot at them, but
more out of choice.
It was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking for a little bigger bear. We did have a wounded bear. We had to track and bring the dogs in, try to find it. But
70 is great though.
Yep.
So you're doing all baiting sites?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And are you guys friendly to archers? I know some guys with baiting sites just want rifle or shotgun.
No, anyone. We're willing to take archers, muzzleloaders, crossbows,
Yes.
Everything that's legal to take a black bear with.
We got a couple sites that are a little better for the archery, a little closer. It's a little window you're shooting at on the bears, but.
Okay. Are you doing stand or blind? What do you guys have set up?
Mainly tree stands, but if needed, we have blinds. We do set up to hunt from.
Okay, nice. And in terms of booking, what's the process for you guys? Do you have a preferred method for booking?
Usually by the first of the year in January is the best time to get a hold to start booking your spots. Notify me you're looking. I give you info about the business and the what you need for a deposit down, and we go from there.
Nice.
But I usually fill up quick because I'm a small outfitter. I do between 12 to 16 hunters a season, so spots do fill up quick.
It's funny, the first 2 weeks fills up right away.
Yeah,
but
instant.
Like last year, we had the third week, everybody who stayed for a whole week to hunt tagged out.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah.
Third week was a very good week for us.
So let's say this year, if people are interested, I know you book up. What's like a date they should throw a Hail Mary at like last minute? Like, hey, I want to come. Do you happen to have anybody who canceled? Is there like a cutoff time that usually works best for you guys?
I usually know by April what I've got for sure for clients coming. People's paid the deposits. By then I know guys that talk about it and then don't send the deposits. So by April's usually what I know I have for opens left. So
got it.
Yeah, and we're already booked up for those first 2 weeks. I think we got maybe 3 spots left on the third week.
3 or 4 for the third week to fill out. But
oh, good.
Yep.
All right. Come make it happen, people. Let's talk moose. All right. You mentioned it's a lottery system. A lot of people coming from out of state. Talk about how you guys offer service for these out-of-staters or in-staters who draw a moose tag. How do you guys accommodate the hunter, and what's the package look like?
Basically, we wait till the lottery, and we can get a list of all the winning people. So we start, sending flyers out for the zones I can hunt from my camp. So like zone 9, 10, 14, 18, 19 is like, I'm right in the corner post of like 4 zones.
Nice.
So I can, within an hour, I can be in those areas. They sell out flyers for the lucky people, and they contact me and they start picking, choosing guides that have sent info, and I tell them my services. It's a full guided hunt from half hour before sunrise to half after sunset. We try to get your moose called in, give you an opportunity to shoot, then bring you back in for supper at night, and we do it 6 days a week. All 6 days we have to.
Yeah,
we like tagging you out early, but
yep. And George will spend that fourth week of the bait season. He's out setting up trail cams, figuring out where those moose are for the clients, and getting a good lay of the land.
Oh yeah. So I usually get a good general idea. I'll spend usually, if not every day, every other day, up scouting for moose, trying to expand the areas I'm hunting, more game cameras out. So I'll usually put 8 to 10 hours a day in for the next 3 weeks after bear season, getting ready for moose, for my clients to get a moose. So.
All right. What's moose looking like up in Maine right now? I know there was a big tick die-off a couple years ago, and there were some complaints about size. Are we back up to those classic big Maine moose?
I say we are. We have a lot of nice big bulls still. I think over the years the moose have got wise to the hunting. They're not as stupid as they used to be. That bear one said, they just stand in the road like a cow. No, they've wised up. They stay off the beaten trails. You have to now get back in the woods and get them. We do still have a tick problem, but I don't know. I think the moose probably still is hanging on strong. So I think they're still good.
All right. And Garrett, you're putting in for your guide license right now.
Oh yeah, just mailed in about a week ago.
All right on. How's it been working with George and getting mentored by him?
Oh, it's been awesome. I actually found him off a whim. I went out to Montana to Swan Mountains Wilderness Guide School last April, And I think it was right before I left. I was at the Kittery Trading Post talking to a guy who works for Bowtech. One of the guys who worked there heard that I was going to guide school and coming back to Maine afternoon. Oh, you got to, email George over at Red Oak. So we went back and forth for a while. I didn't know who he was. He had no idea who I was. So went up to camp.
It actually worked out great. He came up and shadowed for a couple days and led into another week shadowing, and actually him jumping in, filling in a vacant spot for running baits, and
all right,
staying there and then helping with the moose, and so it's worked out great with us.
Oh, heck yeah. It's been sweet.
What do you think you want to get into once you get your guide license? You got something in addition to bear and moose you'd like to get in?
Yeah, I think we're going to start doing some fishing as well.
Yep.
I'm a big fly fisherman, so
yes,
it'll be
sir.
awesome to explore the areas around camp this year, and then next year hit the ground running once ice out happens.
Yep. You can teach this old dog something about fly fishing.
Oh, heck yeah.
You thinking brookie, salmon, everything?
Everything. Yeah. There's there's lots of nice brookies up there. Some good spots to find some landlocks too, and then there's a couple real good smallmouth rivers in the area too.
Yeah.
So
we might even lean towards a little pike fishing too.
Yeah, there's a real good pike lake up there.
Yeah.
Okay, on the fly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's the deal with muskie? I heard muskie are pretty far north. Is this a rumor? Is this legit? What's going on with muskie in Maine?
Muskie's more northern Maine.
Mm-hmm.
The pike is what's been taken over in some of the areas around our area. They was introduced illegally into a lake called Pushaw Lake,
mm-hmm.
and they have exploded in there. And there's some really nice fish. They've been ice fishing it pretty hard this winter. And they've been catching 14-pound pike through the ice.
Okay.
Steady, easy 6-7 pounders showing up all the time on the Facebook page for the lake.
So on the fly, that's
yeah, you hook up on one of those with a 7-8 weight rod, you're having a time.
Yeah, that just makes the red oak that much more dynamic too.
Yeah.
So, that's exciting, guys. All right, so we got it. Red Oak Outfitters out of Alton, Maine. The website is redoakoutfittersofmaine.com. Is that the best way to book a trip?
Yeah. Well, that'll call me with the number that's on it.
All right. We'll put all that in the notes for the episode. And it's been great. George had to deal with us all yesterday and today. We got boots right next to each other, so I think it was great. And Garrett, it was great to meet you today. Wish you were here tomorrow too, man, but I know. You gotta work.
Gotta go back to SIG.
Yeah. All right, guys. You said what week again you currently have an opening? Is it week 3?
Week 3.
All right, week 3. Give George a call. Make it happen. Let's fill it up. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3. This is Matt McMillan. Chillin' McMillan in the house.
Nice, cheers.
That's the name of my DJ company.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a wedding DJ. I've been doing that like 22 years.
Dang.
23 years.
What is your name again for the DJ?
DJ Chillin' McMillan.
Chillin' McMillan. So now you're with Pine 9.
Yeah, now I'm with Pine 9.
Are you the owner of the company?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So how'd you go from DJing to Pine 9?
Oh man. So it's one of those things where you want to transition into something new. With the DJ business, you're gonna get old at some point, and you're not that in with the crowd anymore. Right? So I've been enjoying the outdoors. I really love the Second Amendment. I started doing fishing rod. I started doing the gun holsters, and I'm a big artist. I went to the School for Graphic Design, Multimedia, Art Institute of New England, and started doing art with gun holsters to normalize carrying a gun.
Love it.
Then I was out fishing one day, and I saw this bird, this blue heron that was right next to me. I was trying to get this video because it looked like it was hanging out with me while I was fishing. But I moved, and I was trying to get the fishing rod inside my pocket without it flying off and scaring it.
Yep.
And it ended up happening. I was, damn, that would have been such a great shot. But that's how it kind of happened. I was like, I need something on my hip for this. So that's where the fishing rod holster came from, man.
So let's say the fishing rod piece never happened. The holster business was good, and then you had the overhead to push it onto.
We started about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot happened in the last couple of years. That's for sure. A lot of action.
Right on.
Yeah, when you get into something, you got to go for it full on. You know?
I'm starting to learn that.
Yeah, you got to lean into it. And there's some sacrifices that happen along the way, you know, but it's all worth it in the end. You get positive people like yourself that come around and just love your stuff, love what you're doing.
Likewise, man. All right, so we're here at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. At your booth, you have the gun holsters, or pistol holsters, as well as the fishing holsters.
Yeah.
You brought a couple demo products.
I certainly did, my friend. So
tell us what you got.
What we got here is this is the first version. It's the Kydex-based version. Now this one, it fits with Molly. These guys have the metal clips on them, so these can go on your swimsuit, basketball shorts, pretty much in belt loops, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these come in right-handed predominantly, and if you email me, I can make you a lefty. But super durable. But what we needed something at a lower cost, and people wanted something that they could switch. Now that's a challenge to be able to keep this angle just the way it was, because it's super. It was a very carefully crafted angle to both make sure that the line doesn't come back around your neck, and also that you have enough that it doesn't fall out if you bend over, if you're using a bait caster, and these are for bait casters too. So we came up with Ambi. Just came out last week. This is a manufactured version, which by the way is also in New Hampshire, which is cool. Made in the USA. Everything right here is made in the USA, even the parts and materials for these.
Brilliant.
Which is pretty cool. So the way that this works is, right now it's left-handed configuration. It sits just like this. And then you also have the rod that, don't mind the weeds, it's for the demo purposes earlier, because this is mostly what I catch anyway. My daughter catches all the fish. She caught over 100 fish last year.
Dang.
And she's only 5.
All right, she had a good mentor.
But the way that this works is you pull this off the belt clips, then you squeeze this together, which separates on the back, and that flips right out. Then it goes up and in. You put that together like that. Then you put the belt clips back on, and now it's a right-handed configuration.
That's awesome.
The total game changer, and it's a lower cost too.
It's great for someone giving a gift, for example, and they don't know what side they might be.
Yeah.
And it's
Even
ideal.
Even if you don't want to spend the money on the handcrafted stuff, like it is pricey, but it's warranted. There's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of overhead, right? But if you wanted an intro, and to also see which side you predominantly want this thing on, this is a great starter.
I love it.
Absolutely. Pine 9 holsters, this is the best way to go right here.
Awesome.
I wish we did fly rods, but
that would be next in product development.
I know. Well, so it works on some fly rods as long as you have more than 3 inches behind the reel. That will work because it'll fit. It'll be seated.
Like fit a fighting butt in there or something. Gotcha.
Yeah, because most of the fly rods are like right up against the reel, right? So that won't work.
True.
But there's some out there that do.
Right on, right on.
Yeah, man.
All right, I just purchased mine. I like the chartreuse is the color. Is that the proper term for
Yes.
it? Chartreuse. I just picked up mine. Made 100% in the USA here in New Hampshire. That's Pine 9 holsters. Would you mind? You can stand up for this. Can you throw in the one I just got and show kind of how it fits so people can get a feel for it?
Yeah, you got. I'll move the microphone up.
You got one on already.
Yeah. So this guy, I have the Ambi on right now. So the way that this works, I have a retractable. You don't have to have a retractable rod. Usually it's straight out. But basically, if you have weeds or anything, you're reeling it in, you need both hands, it's being stubborn, you drop it right in, and it locks right in place, right? Now you have both hands to do whatever you need to do. Now you can rebait, you could take a fish off, you could help your daughter with her line if it's all crazy line everywhere, or even just using pliers. You need to get that hook out. That's pretty much how that works. It's super simple. Oop. And I've got my weeds all tangled up.
Yeah, it's just like real life.
That's right, man.
Yeah, I mean, I picked mine up. My kid's 2.5. My goal is to get him out there ASAP, and this spring especially. And I know I'm gonna need 2 hands.
Say 2.5?
Yeah.
such a good age.
Yeah, it's such a privilege, honestly. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to using mine, especially during all the trout derbies coming up and out in the dock. I'm gonna need both hands.
Speaking of derbies, people have been using it at fishing, the ice fishing derbies.
Like dead sticking, like putting it in there and dead sticking through a hole.
So they were double jigging. I guess that's what they're gonna call it now. Yeah, you ice fishers out there, double jigging. That's a term that I just made up right here. Basically, you have two rod holsters. You have two holes that are on each side, and you have the line going out to both holes. Now you get to hang out hands-free with your buddies with a cigar and your beer and just hang out on the ice.
Just like shift back and
forth. And you're just walking back, you're just turning, You're just walking back and forth, staying still, and you're jigging.
That is brilliant. Oh, that's too
it's
good.
The funniest thing I've ever heard. Like, you kidding me right now?
I love the product, man. I love the story. How can people get their hands on some Pine 9 products?
Well, there's a bunch of different URLs that go right to my site, but the two primary ones that I would suggest people to go to is pine9holsters.com or holsteryourrod.com.
All right. Any social media we can follow you on?
Heck yeah. Facebook. We got reluctantly TikTok.
Sure.
You know the deal.
Yeah.
And then we do some stuff on Instagram. But yeah, primarily Facebook.
Sure.
And if you guys haven't seen my ad out there, it's also on YouTube. You want to watch that. It's pretty funny. I got a bunch more coming out. I got scripts in the work right now. I love entertaining people. Comes from the DJ business.
Yeah.
I love entertaining people, and people share it like crazy. And if you've seen it before, just give me a shout out, all right? Give a shout out to this dude over here who's coming up too, man.
All right. Again, that's Matt McMillan, Pine 9 Pistol and Fishing Rod Holsters, right out of New Hampshire.
Heck yeah, man.
All right.
I love what you're doing here.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming out to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right.
Take care, man.
Thanks.
Thank
All right. Tell us about your company, your names, and how it fits into the outdoor world.
Yeah, my name is Jan. This is Davey. We have a company called StandNP Corporation and specialized for the female urination device, which is both supported girls and the females when they hiking, hunting in the woods for their urination, to have a very hygienic and private urination. And this is our products. We call the StandNP, and it's paper make, disposable.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and big mouth coverage and big space and the nozzle, and access to the body and just non-hassle, non-exposure urination can be made like this.
Okay.
And so far we have one size, and then we are going to have a 3 size for the bigger hand, and then the normal, and for the young girls. And for the future, we are raising funds for that in new and inventory. And meanwhile, we would like to restore it, the reusable to the customers. And we did this before, but it was not good. It's too soft. And then we are raising funds again for this, the reusable and in hard plastic or some another material is biodegradable and environment friendly to the environment. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how did the idea come about? How did you find out about the need, and how did StandNP get started?
Yeah, let me start with that. I'm Dr. David Jones, and I have 4 daughters and 2 sons, but when my oldest daughter was probably 2-3 years old, late in the 20th century, with her grandmother there, I was changing her sneakers while she sat on the potty, and she peed in a big arc in my face. Okay. So that gave me the idea that, because an older woman, usually it sprays, and by doing this, we can, like you and I, like guys can do, with the arc you can control it. So that our vision is that every girl and every woman, instead of sitting on any toilet except at home, would use this, the reusable or the disposable for public toilets that usually are filthy, True. Airplane, train toilets, they're filthy too after a couple of hours on the vehicle. But on the outdoors, this is a very outdoorsy show.
Yeah.
Hiking,
Absolutely.
camping, fishing. We exhibited in Denver and St. Louis, Toronto, Chicago. And people always tell us that on the boating, like down the Missouri River that winds, the girls just sit up on the side of the boat and pee on the side. Well, that's not very discreet. But also
That's
they
not
fall
very
in.
safe, yeah.
Not very
Yeah.
safe. They fall in, and then the guys on the boat have to go in and fish them out. And that's not really keep fishing like what Bass Pro would like you to do. So
Yeah,
good
this
point.
product was sold in 1990s when his family was thriving, growing up.
in
and
hard
it-
plastic like
yeah,
this.
Yeah, and then shortly it was a good economy for the kids' education. After the kids grow up, and everybody seems to forget it. Until 2012, we were living in Europe. I had a 13 hours on board flight from Europe to Asia. It was really, the toilets cannot imagine. And then I talked this issue to him. He said, "Oh, we had this device sold in 1990s, called StandNP. So let's get it back." And then, so that's why we had this in the 2012. Based upon the memory, he had this drawing, and then we went on. For the
Okay.
details, everything, and discussion, a lot of it, and lots of inspiration, and a lot of development updates, and then corrections,
Wow.
and so many this on. And anyway, we had this, finally got it as a silicone version, but it was too soft. I cannot go on at all.
What is the material? This prototype.
This is silicone.
Okay, so body safe, and you can
Yeah, I know.
decontaminate
It's
it.
very good.
but
So you can
it's
see
too
this
soft.
looks like a portable toilet. It's very safe and very
Mhm.
convenient. But unfortunately, it's too soft, to hold
Sure.
in position. That's why we cannot go on. But anyway, we had this patent issued and then granted, and then this is a very nice product. And
Oh, you
then
brought me
finally-
money. That was nice.
Yeah.
And she
And then
dropped
finally,
money.
we have to make reusable to disposable.
So this is 100% StandNP's trademark
Yeah.
for this product.
It's trademarked in the United States, the European Community, United Kingdom, Canada, and Taiwan.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're marketing, or mostly right now you're manufacturing the disposable, and you're looking to do a more harder material for the reusable.
Yeah. We now there is a lot of biodegradable materials
Mhm.
in the market, so we can choose whatever you want. But the mold we made it for silicones doesn't work now, so we have to do.
The molds are rather expensive to make, $15,000 to $30,000.
Sure.
So that's a challenge for us. But we originally made them in hard plastic, and we feel that life comes full circle. And so we're probably going to go back to a harder, not as hard, but a harder, still a little bit flexible plastic. And Jane is right. Biodegradability is very important
Yeah,
now
it's
to
very
many
important,
people
yeah.
who
Yeah.
would be our target purchasers. So we try to make everything biodegradable, including the coating on the disposables and the entire product of the reusables.
I think about this. I was just on like a 4-hour trip with my family.
Yep.
Our son fell asleep. We planned it to commute at night because we're like, he'll fall asleep,
Yeah.
and then we'll just
We
drop
used
him
to do
back.
that too.
All right, so you know the drill.
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we're 2 hours into a 4-hour trip, and my wife has to use the bathroom.
Yes, exactly.
And everywhere you go to use a public restroom has all the lights. It wakes the kid up. She's stressed out, and if we had this, we could have just pulled over the side of the road, made it happen.
Yeah, Absolutely.
And then
exactly,
that's it. And I
exactly.
think about also the female hunter, hiker, fisherwoman.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because we've been talked to different audios, they feedbacks for women's urination in the wild, kinds of like really stressful and then disgraceful. And women told me, said, they had to dehydrate if they have to go, but sometimes they
So
just
unsafe.
don't go.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they had to go very deep area, this is not good.
Yeah, and then you're
for
susceptible to ticks and whatnot.
Well, and
It's
the
not.
military girls
Yeah.
have told me that
They have to go.
they have to go in the deep woods.
Yeah.
Now, in a combat situation, you could be sniped or you could have a landmine. You could
You
trigger a
don't-
landmine.
you don't know how
You want to
you know.
stay with the group.
That's what they were talking
Yeah,
about.
you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't
Wow.
know the potential dangers somewhere in the distance. You don't know.
That
So
really
that's
is discrimination.
Yeah,
by
Yeah.
it
gender.
is.
Yeah,
it is.
indeed.
And then especially summertime come over, the music, some music, right? You know, the girls, how you go sit on that kind of, you know, the
Yeah, those
deployed-
portable
deployed-
potties are
yeah,
filthy.
yeah.
All the
Cannot
time.
just
Yeah.
imagine that. So this product is widely applied. If girls have that sense, you know, for their personal hygiene issue, so it would
Yes.
be suitable for
That's
everybody.
incredible.
Yeah.
All right. So again, David and Jane from StandNP. This, I think, is a great idea
Thank
for
you.
a gift. Well,
Yeah.
great idea in general.
It's a great idea for
Great
a
idea
gift,
for
too.
a gift for, you know, but also for women to have, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, just to make them more comfortable and
Yeah.
make it more equitable to be in the
Yeah.
outdoors.
To have
Yeah.
a 10-pack in the car, for example.
Yeah,
or
you put it in the
RV.
glove box.
Just put a glove
Absolutely.
box.
Yep.
Yes.
console.
And that, yeah.
Where can people buy StandNP?
Online.
On the internet, mostly now the Shopify and shop is very good, you know, and very convenient, accessible.
And you're on Amazon
Yeah, on Amazon, we're doing
eBay,
Amazon, eBay, yeah.
Etsy.
and
Yeah.
Etsy. Yep.
Etsy, yes. And
Instagram, you guys can be followed
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Facebook.
And the Facebook.
Oh,
yes,
great. And
yeah.
your website is www.standnp.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is. I'm upset I didn't see this sooner at the expo.
Yeah.
But
Well, we're
I'm
glad
glad
you
we're
saw
getting the
it
message
now.
out now.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
This is
really.
gonna. Thank you for coming on. Thank you
Thanks for
for
having us.
initiating it.
Yeah.
I think this is really gonna change the lives of a lot of women who are
Yes.
going outdoors and
Keep
and
our
who are-
fingers crossed. We
Yeah.
hope so.
The
'Cause-
most
Absolutely.
importantly, I'd like the women to, you know, have their awareness. Their hygiene is very important. I know they can squat all the time, but sometimes you just cannot squat.
we
Yeah.
want to make it here in USA.
And that's what we're all
Yeah.
about for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And speaking of keeping it on American soil, and
Yeah.
you guys are a local company in New Hampshire.
Yep.
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
New
even
Hampshire
better.
For-Profit Business
Yeah.
Corporation. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
I'm from New Hampshire. We're very proud of New Hampshire.
Hope to see you again. You
Yeah,
know,
let's
Matt.
do a full-length one, and
Yeah.
maybe
Love
we can
to.
talk more, especially once you get the new material.
Yes.
And we can
Thank you
talk
very
more.
much.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
on.
much for having us.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, that is a wrap. 3 days here at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo. Hunt Fish New England, first official expo that we've done. We did live podcasts, got to meet a lot of great people. Thank you to everybody who stopped by the booth. Especially thank you to the fellow vendors for the camaraderie and the support. This community is incredible. A lot of people think that outdoorsmen are just rigid, Elmer Fudd kind of guys and gals. Not the case. This is probably the most welcoming and supportive community you can possibly find. And anybody who came to the show can definitely see that for themselves and saw that for themselves. We have a really great lineup of people who came by the booth and did some podcasts with us. We're going to be releasing that as a long form and short form content. I think everyone's going to really enjoy it. It's a little bit of guiding, a little bit of lure makers, a little bit of pro staff, a little bit about local boutique hotels, maybe some devices that certain people will find helpful out in the outdoors. Overall, it's going to be a great episode and a lot of really great shorts that came out of it. Again, we're here to support the local outdoor community, specifically those products and services here in New England. And I think Dan from Go Fish Dan and the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo did a phenomenal job getting some really high-quality local vendors in this weekend. So thank you in advance for checking out all of our episodes. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Huntstock. Thank you, Hunt Suburbia, for all the support. I know you guys were sending people by our booth. We also were raffling off Huntstock tickets, so we'll be announcing those winners soon. If you don't win the raffle, still check out Huntstock, huntstockevents.com. You don't want to miss it. 3 days in August 11th through 13th. Again, thank you to everybody who came by. Sorry for the noise. Everyone's breaking down. It's been a busy weekend, so people are starting to fly out of here. Looking forward to meeting more people, getting more local businesses on the podcast. So yeah, keep an eye out. Thank you again for listening. Take care. And that turkey call only comes on when we're recording. Swear to God.